You zoom though, because otherwise I'll start echoing.
Okay, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to mute that audio.
Welcome everyone. Jason here, Cam6FAK. If you're just tuning in, this is Ham Radio TV. Want to let everyone know I am taking next week off, but not to worry. Northwest Hamshack is going to take over. So look out for that. I'll be sharing some links. Again, the channel's called Northwest Hamshack. Here in a little bit, we're gonna get this going. We're gonna do the normal check-ins, and then Bruce N6THN is gonna give us a fantastic presentation on power supplies. So stick around for that. He's actually one of the guys that led me into creating videos, just going to the local club. So it should be pretty good.
Thank you, Jason.
Clock on the Vacaville radio repeater W6VVR at 145.470, negative offset of 600 kilohertz, and a PL of 127.3 hertz. We can also be accessed by EchoLink at WG5EK-L, AllStar node 51094, and DMR talk group 3149964. The antenna is also being live streamed on YouTube channel Ham Radio TV and Northwest Hamshack. So that's a first. Welcome to Nick's stream as well. That's pretty awesome. All right, moving on. Website update. Rodney, WA6PKJ, are you there? All right, moving on. Any Facebook or YouTube updates from either Derek, K6DJV, or Nick, KN6DAL?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. This is Nick, KN6DAL. I'll just chime in. We are up to 167 members on Facebook. It's been pretty active the last couple days. Some people are making some pretty awesome long-distance contacts with the 2-meter band openings. And yeah, feel free to check it out. 2MC at Facebook, and we'll get you signed in there. KN6DAL.
All right, thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. So moving on, do we have any DX reports or anything planned? Come now. All right, are there any 2-meter crew planned events? You guys can come now too if you're ready. All right, Jason, how's the YouTube stream going? We got people watching. Got any questions or anybody want to check in before we do the RF check-in on YouTube? Let's start with them first this time. Let's shake it up a bit.
All right, Mike. Yeah, everything's looking good. We got about 20 people in there watching you. You're doing a fantastic job. I just want to make sure to reiterate, next week we'll be on Northwest Hamshack. Go say hi to Nick. He's a brand new YouTuber, but it's always nice to have backup. So over to you, Mike, Cam6FAK.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, WG5EK for ID. So at this time, we want to take check-ins from stations that have never checked in before. So if you checked in, let's give a chance for those who haven't checked in to go ahead and give us their call sign and location and their name. And if they want, whatever radio they're using. So please come now.
Kilo Mike 9 Golf.
So I got Kilo Mike 9 Golf. What's your name and where are you from?
My name is Steve. I am temporarily offline on YouTube, and I am watching you live on the YouTubes and listening to you live on EchoLink.
All right, so you are online. Perfect. All right, so thanks for checking in, Steve.
I know, it's a tricky name.
Right, well, no check-ins from there. Anybody checked in on YouTube, Jason? Go back there real quick and check that one out. All right, nothing on there. So all right, am I making it out? You guys hear me?
You're making it out.
Barring anything else, Bruce, I don't know if you're ready or not for your presentation, but Bruce, N6 Teach-In, has a really cool topic tonight. It's discussing and how to build power supplies, and I'm excited for it. I've been waiting for this for a couple months now, actually. He brought it up recently that he wants to do it if somebody asked, and I raised my hand and said, yes, I want to see this. I want to hear this. So I'm going to kick it back over to Jason real quick, and then he can coordinate with Bruce. This is WG5EEK.
Oh, okay. We're already at that point, huh?
Yes, sir. We didn't get a whole lot of check-ins, and that's where I'm at on the agenda. So if you're ready, if not, we can maybe see if anybody in YouTube has any comments. But if that's not going to work, that's okay. I see a couple people checking in online. I got Oakley. I got Georgia. Let's see what else is on there. Nope. Yeah, we got Woodland, California. Yeah, lots of people checking in online. So it's really cool.
6CMB.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, I'll just throw out a couple of new calls, and I'm always catching them as best I can on YouTube. I see KQ0RS, looks from White Bear Lake, K8KRA from Williamsburg, KM9G, Steve from Luck, KM6ETD, Dale from Vacaville, KN6HLF, Paul from Oakley. Those are some calls that I haven't logged before. I might suggest maybe we haven't, if anybody has something they do want to throw out from the crowd before we switch over to the presentation, just if anybody's got traffic for the anti-net, we could take that now.
This is KI6UJH. Sorry for not being able to run control tonight, but evidently there's another repeater up here pretty dang close, running on 145/470. So I blow them up when I transmit. But I do appreciate Mike stepping up last minute and covering the net.
Hey, no problem, Carlos. And I heard was it a UJH? Can you come back with your full call sign and name?
Yeah, Roger. This is KI6UJH. Name is Doug. I'm sitting in a car in Antioch. A little bit of traffic for the net. For those who are interested in CW, I know there's quite a few. I've tried out the Long Island CW Club, and it seems to be a really good program. Now, it does cost $30 a year, but they have a Zoom setup that is great, and I participated in 2 intermediate sessions, and it's really good. So it's just another option out there for those who are interested in CW. This is KI6UJH tossing back to net control.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm looking at the YouTube comments right now, and it says it's free for kids. So if you want to get your kids interested in learning CW with you, that's a perfect place to do it, seems like. So thank you for that. Anybody else have any traffic for the anti-net?
Checking on via EchoLink. Have a good evening, guys. I'll be watching on the side.
There was a slight double there. What was that last station? Please come back.
6 GST. I'm on EchoLink checking in, and I'll be watching on Zoom.
Copy that. I got Kilo November 6, Golf Sierra Tango. Is that correct?
Roger, you have it correct. Thank you very much. On the side.
All right, thanks for checking in. And this, once again, is Mike, WG5EEK. Jason, are we ready with the presentation for with Bruce? Or does anybody else want to chime in real quick? See, we got a couple people that I haven't seen before in the on the Zoom meeting. So if any one of those with maybe with Kevin wants to check in and say hello, third-party traffic or maybe first-party, I don't know. I don't know who you are, if you have a license or not. But come on, let's hear it.
Oh, Mike, I'll
Well-
check in. Kilo Golf 6, November Lima Whiskey. Frank, Cloverdale, no traffic except I'm Frank Sorrell's photography on the YouTube channel, watching live there.
I think I'm going to turn the repeater off.
Happy to have you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
All right, back to net control.
All right, is it my turn, Mike?
November Golf, Mike Uniform Echo, please check in. K4NCU. Mike, Gaston County, North Carolina. Good evening to you and everyone on the net.
Oh, good evening. Yeah, so just to verify I have your call sign correct, it's Kilo 4 November Charlie Uniform.
The sun's really coming in.
That is correct, sir, and I'm in Gaston County, North Carolina, coming to you on EchoLink.
Well, we're definitely happy to have you, and just for the record, I was born in North Carolina, so let's check in with Jason and let's see what he's going on over there. Jason, KM6FAK.
Unmute your mic.
Yeah, we go. All right, there was a parade of horn honking. I'm guessing it was someone's birthday. But look at Carlos. I think that's our timer. When that cigar is gone, we're gonna have to stop. Kevin, did you have something to say or share before we kick it to Bruce to take us into this amazing presentation? I will keep the hammer down with my broccoli rubber band.
All right. Well, thanks, Jason. Well, all I had to say was I got my friend Tim here in the shack, and he's technically third-party traffic. So this is November 6th, Victor Lima Foxtrot from Fairfield, California, with my friend Tim, who say hi, Tim.
Hi.
Can you guys hear Tim?
A little higher, please.
Everyone hear me? Good?
A little higher? How's that? Say hi again.
Hi again.
A little bit more.
A little bit more. Man,
Turn me up real loud.
I'll turn him up really loud. Hold on a second.
Well, we're ham radio operators, and you'll learn that when we start talking, we just yell.
Yeah?
Yeah. So how's that? Is it a little better?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear.
All right. So Tim's my friend. He's a pilot with the Air Force. What kind of plane do you fly,
I
Tim?
fly KC-10s.
Like, what do those things do?
We refuel all sorts of different airplanes.
Okay,
Fly
so
around the world.
Tim, are you kind of a techno nerd kind of a person too?
Yeah, I like technology.
So you a little bit interested in ham radio because I kind of tricked you into coming over here tonight. I told him that Carlos was giving out prizes for all the third-party traffic people. So yeah, what is the? It's gonna be a free cigar. It'll be a used cigar, half smoked cigar. So, anyways, he does not have his ham license, but he's from Iowa, right?
No, I'm from Ohio.
Ohio, and you're getting. I'm sorry. I wish you guys would just fire me. Now, and you're getting, but you're going to get deployed to a new permanent change of station here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be moving over to the East Coast, and yeah, I'm looking at getting my ham license. It's been about 10 years since I've been on a ham radio, so it's nice to actually get to do this again.
Yeah. So we're going to help him get his ham license and get him going on AllStar, because this dude, I got to introduce him to Mike there, the geek. You guys would get along great, man.
Mike's married.
Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. All right, well, that's a good one, man. By the way, Jason, you're dude, your audio. You're like when you talk, it's commanding. You know,
yeah.
It's like you're in control or something. Oh, wait a minute, you are. Anyways, so we're gonna get him his license and get him going. That way, when he moves out of the area, he too will be one of the individuals chiming in on ham radio TV and the 2 Meter Crew remotely. That's it, man. I just brought my friend to hang out with us.
All right. Very good. I'm going to unkey KM6FAK.
Don't everybody talk at once.
Maybe
All right, well, I just want to shout out to Tim, NKAWTG. I'm a fellow KC-10 guy, so yeah, glad to have you here. And I want to unmute myself. I'm talking on the radio. I'm not doing that. So Jason, back to you. I don't have anything else right now, but hope you guys and Bruce are ready. I'm ready for it. I'm excited. This is WG5EEK.
Yeah, I think we are ready. The idea is everyone out there in RF land, we're going to be dropping the repeater because even though this would probably be great theater of the mind, we're going to let Bruce just let it rip. He's got slideshows. He's got some bench demos. So please come join us if you're not there already. Ham Radio TV is the YouTube channel, or this will be later recorded, or this is recorded as it goes live. But in other words, if you're out driving around and you hear us, just go check back. It'll be up, tonight it'll be up to rewatch it. So, yeah, why don't you close out the net, Mike, and then we'll give it to Bruce. KM6FAK.
All right, yeah, just once again, I want to invite everybody out to the Zoom after the presentation, so stick around on YouTube if you're watching, and we'll get you guys in there after Bruce's presentation. So yes, I will close the net. This concludes the RF portion of the 2 meter crew anti-net, and some of us were going to be in Zoom, and we'll all be here on YouTube as well. So hope to see some of you pop in there. So I'm officially closing the net. This is WG5EK, and when the repeater will go back to normal operations. Thank you very much.
Good net there, Mike. KG6 W.
All right, Bruce, you are live.
All right, can you hear me, Jason and everybody?
You're coming in great. Say hello to all our friends on YouTube.
Well, I think I will. And good evening, everybody. My name is Bruce, N6THN. I live in Vacaville. Thanks for inviting me to speak tonight. I want to say hello to everybody on YouTube and on the 2 meter crew, Ham Radio TV, and the Mount Vaca Radio Club. I'm going to have 2 sections of the talk tonight. It's going to be on power supplies. So the first section is going to be turning something like this mess into a completed unit, which I'm going to show you on the bench, into a completed unit that'll look something like this when you're finished. Anybody can do this. And so let's get started. So I have a PowerPoint presentation, and we'll go over to the workbench and actually get some work done on power supplies. So I'm going to let me know if this presentation is coming through. And is that coming through? Can you give me a thumbs up on that? Yep. Okay. So this is the introduction to power supplies. And I was thinking today, what would be the perfect power supply? So I made kind of a little list. The perfect power supply to me would be light, small, be efficient, have no RFI. It'd be running cool and be quiet, and good DC output regulation and good AC input regulation. It'd be low cost and reliable. So let's see how close we can get to all of that stuff. So the most basic supply we most learned in school would be the half-wave rectifier, where the AC comes in on the left, a single diode in the center, and then you get DC pulses on the output. These are not very efficient. They're about 40% efficient at the max. So these are just a beginning supply. Here's a better supply. It's half wave with the additional filter capacitor. And a lot of wall warts have this, some of the very cheap ones. The DC has bumps on it. We call that ripple. So that's still not a very good supply, and it's still about only 40% efficient. You're throwing away electricity. So let's upgrade ourselves to the full wave. And what makes it full wave is you still have a transformer, but you have 4 diodes. And what it does is it flips the sine wave into 2 positive cycles. So it takes this on the input and gives you positive cycle, positive cycle, positive cycle through a filter cap, gives you very nice filtered DC. So this is filtered, and the efficiency goes way up on these. These are about 80% efficient, but you will hear AC hum on your signal. So they improved that one step higher by doing a linear regulator. This has everything the previous power supplies have. In other words, transformer, rectifier, filter, but now we added the regulator. But unfortunately, this first section is only 80% efficient. When we add the regulator, we drop down to about 60 to 70% efficient out here at the load. But what we gain is we go from bumpy ripple to an absolutely stable straight line DC output. And that's what we're shooting for, is a good DC supply. So I'm going to give you some examples of ham radio supplies that you can make. This is a really easy one to build in an afternoon. 4 diodes and an LM7812 will give you 12 volts at 1 amp. Very easy circuit. And this is an improved one. If you want to go up to 10 amps, yeah, it's the same old thing. Transformer, 4 diodes, a capacitor, that's your filter. And then with the addition of 2 transistors, this is a driver, this is the pass transistor or the final, you get your 13.8 at 10 amps. Nice and smooth because of this 723 regulator down there. So that's an improvement. That's what we're shooting for. So here's an example you can buy off the shelf, about $150. Here's a 35 amp supply. That's mine. That's on my bench shelf right now. And then if you, and by the way, this is a linear supply, the one I've been talking about. And if you want to go switching supply, this is a nice Alinco 30 amp switcher. And sometimes these make birdies or noise into your signal. So down here, there's this noise offset pot on a switching supply. And that's pretty handy. If you can see my mouse, noise offset. If you turn this, sometimes you can get rid of the switching noise on your receiver. Next, we're going to go to the tried and true Astron. This is an RS-20A. The 20 is 20 amps, and the A means no meters. The next one is an RS-35M, 35 amps, and the M means meters. The next one is an RS-20M, 20 amps with dual meters, which is kind of cool. So this is the schematic of what's inside of them. Well, sorry, that's the back panel. Your DC outputs, fuse, and your pass transistors. This is what's inside if you pop the cover on these supplies. The main power transformer, just what you've been studying, what I showed you before on paper. The transformer goes into the diodes. The diodes charge this filter capacitor. The filter capacitor then goes into this IC and circuit board. The circuit board drives the finals, which are out here, finals. And the power comes out these red wires out to your radio. So that's what's in the Magic Astron supply. And this is the schematic. Looks very familiar by now to you guys. Transformer, diodes, caps, regulator IC, which is a 723, the driver transistor, and then the 2 final outputs. This is where you get your juice out out of the Astron. So here's Pyramid. I don't know if any of you tried Pyramid, but I like them. This is a 35 amp front panel, and it has dual meters, and it's linear. Here's the back panel. It's got 4 great big finals on it. You probably will never blow those up. And then this is the baby brother. This is the 25 amp Pyramid. And inside the Pyramid, this is a 35 amp schematic, power plug, main transformer, 4 diodes as usual, 2 capacitors, the regulator IC, the driver, and the 4 pass transistors go through an amp meter, over voltage protector, and out to your radio. So Pyramids are pretty good. If you find one, they're all right. Hey, now we're going to get into old school, the stuff I learned on when I was in school. Transformer, rectifier tube, filter chokes, and then the regulator tubes. I'll just touch on this. We could talk about this later. Spiral wound filament, cathode, grid, and the gray circle around here is the plate. That's an anode, and that is a triode because it has 3 elements. And they make great regulators and great amplifiers. And this is the inside of a tetrode. That's 1 step higher than a triode. It's got 4 elements: cathode, grid, and plate. This is how it's configured here on the left. And these make excellent amplifiers and regulators. That's a 6L6 power tetrode. And this is the last tube I'm going to show you. It's just to show you what's out there if you ever get a radio with tubes. This is called a pentode tube, and it's got 5 elements. It's got the filament, which doesn't count, but it's the cathode, grid, and plate. They all slip over each other, and they end up being inside the glass envelope. And these make fantastic low noise amplifiers and preamps for RF receivers and audio. These are the tube to get if you ever get a circuit with a pentode in it. These are the hot rods. And up here, a little tube schematic, 2 plates and a filament. That's the rectifier of a tube. The 5 means 5-volt filament. The 3 means 3 elements inside. And the Y means the configuration. Down here is a pentode. I just wanted to show you this in an audio amp. It has a 6AQ5, 6-volt filament, 5 elements inside the tube, and the A and Q is the pinout and the configuration. The cathode, grid, and plate. 5 elements, fantastic tube amps if you ever get one of those. And there's a fantastic amp there. So we're going to leave tubes behind now and come up into the 2000s and start talking about switching power supplies. This is a typical switcher. They're small, they're light, they're efficient, they run cool, they're usually quiet, they have fair DC regulation. Some of them do have RF noise. They have good AC regulation. They have high cost usually, and their reliability is a little bit less than the linear ones because they have more parts to them. But what you gain out of it is size and weight and efficiency. So SMPS means switch mode power supply block diagram. It borrows other technology from the linear supplies, but it adds a little bit more. It has the main rectifier. This is new, 25 kilohertz switcher. Switches the DC to a square wave. The square wave is then rectified and sent out to your radio. The problem with these is sometimes the square wave gets into your radio receiver and you get a hiss or a whine. And the fourth section is the feedback and control. So that's what's inside a switching supply. Speaking of switching supplies, if you work near an IT department and they're chucking power supplies out, how do you get from a junk power supply to something like this that looks great? Well, I'm going to go over that. First, organize your work area and get your hands on one of the power supplies. Get yourself a couple banana jacks. You need a couple power resistors, usually just one though. And you need to get familiar with the 24-pin computer ATX plug. After you do that, you want to test your supply before you go in and rip into it. You want to make sure the power supply you get at the flea market or whatever works. So get familiar with the 24-pin plug. This is what makes the power supply have input and output. Well, mostly output. And this is the color code of that plug. And you'll find 20-pin connectors and you find 24-pin connectors. Don't get shocked. The 20-pin connector is a mirror image of the 24-pin. And all you're going to look for is down here at the bottom corner, the color code. Yellows are your plus 12s. Blacks are all ground. The green, way over here, is your power on-off signal. And the reds are plus 5. So you can pause this later and get this written down, but you're going to need this color code when you modify a power supply. So here's a quick and dirty tester that you can build in 10 minutes to test your supply. It only involves a load resistor or a light bulb between any black wire and any red wire. This is a 10 ohm, 10 watt resistor. The next thing you do is you take a jumper and you jumper the green wire to the black wire, and that starts the supply. And the last thing you do is enjoy the power it's putting out. Between the blacks and the yellows is where all your output is. So if you make this little tester, it could be easily done. You can test your supply and make sure it's a good one when you get it. So how do you get started? After you test it, you've got to organize yourself. After the supply passed the test, you've got to take all these wires, and unfortunately, you got to cut all the plugs off. You got to cut every plug off. And then you end up with something like this. All the plugs have been cut off. And you got to, this is a good slide to freeze on too, because black is ground, yellow is +12, red is +5, orange is +3, green to black jumper is your on-off switch. And for ham use, it says right there, black, yellow, green, and black's all you need. So you got your power supply on the bench and you don't know what to do with all that wires. Well, it's simple what you do with them. You cut off all the unnecessary ones. So you bundle them up and get your blacks. You're going to keep all the blacks. You're going to keep all the yellows. You're going to keep none of the orange and only one of the reds. And you're going to keep the green one and one black one to run to a power switch. Okay, so you're going to keep the black, yellow, green, and red, one red one. Cut all the rest of them off and tape them up. So this one is pretty much done. This is final assembly now. If you notice, only the blacks are hooked up. You want to drill some holes in your case and put your banana jack in. You want to drill some more holes for the positive yellows. You drill another hole for the power switch. So all your yellows go up to the banana jack, all your blacks go up, and you steal one black over to the 10 ohm resistor, and you steal one of the red wires to the 10 ohm resistor, and you mount the resistor somewhere in the power supply where it gets airflow. So this is a completed conversion right there. That's ready to go. Final assembly. Here's another mounting suggestion for the resistor. And here's a third mounting suggestion for the resistor and the banana jacks and the power switch. And this one's over the top. This guy, I got this picture off the web, and he put in every single banana jack to get every single voltage possible. But we only need the black and the yellow, the ground and the +12. So anyhow, you get your completed supply, and then I'm going to show you guys where to get all your parts. So if you go to swap meets, you can get these things for free or $1. But if you go to eBay or Amazon, Newegg, Mauser, DigiKey, the PC parts, Jameco, you can pick these up. So here's a 300 watter, $16. And if you read the nameplate closely, the 300 watter is not a true 300 watter because 12 amps at 12 volts at 16 amps, 12 volts at 16 amps on the other wire. They say if you do connect the two together down here, 12 on voltage 1, 12 on voltage 2, you have to derate it to 264 watts. So take 264 divided by voltage and you'll get your current. The current ends up being 22 amps on a 300 watt supply with the derating. $16. This is another option. This is Hewlett Packard computer server surplus supplies. Here's two of them for $18, free shipping, and they're 56 amps each. You notice there's no fan on these server supplies because the mainframe has the fan in it. So people have been buying the computer server supply and 3D printing a fan hood, the fan shroud, to cool the supply. So that's one option. Here's a bigger one. This is a HP Cisco 1300 watts, 74 amps at 12 volts. Free shipping, $19, and that has a built-in fan. You're going to need to buy the banana jacks. This is pretty elementary here. Let's see. The banana jacks end up being $1.80 a piece. The 10 ohm resistors on eBay end up being 53 cents a piece. The power switches become $1.10. You're going to need a fan usually because a lot of times the power supplies are dead fans. So $8 for a fan, 80 millimeter is the correct size. You might need a fan grill. Those things end up being 77 cents. Buy yourself a stack of power poles. They end up being 97 cents a pair for 30 amps. Get yourself a computer power cord that's rated at 15 amps, heavy duty. And what I did is I bought a inline volt amp meter. Just for $10-12, you can get your voltage, amperage, and wattage that your power supply is putting out. And if you really want to be fancy, you can buy this interface plug that does all the rewiring I just showed you in one shot. You plug this interface plug in, but it's got one caveat. It only puts out 5 amps. It's fused at 5 amps. So it's a great plug, and you just plug your computer board into that, and you don't even have to open the computer power supply or cut anything. You just plug the plug in. It's got an on-off switch, and away you go. The way I went is I modified the power supply manually, and I bought this West Mountain doohickey, which is a power pole distribution box. You put all your juice in the left-hand one, and you take your juice out on the radio side. So that's the end of the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to switch you guys over. Come on out to the shop with me, to the workbench. And by the magic of electronics, the workbench is right here. So the chore today is, as I bump the microphone, take an unknown supply like this. You don't know what the heck, where it's been.
Can I have that when you're done?
Can you have the supply?
Yeah, I just want something free that you built. Thank you.
Oh, well then you'd want this one, which I was going to come to next. But
okay, thanks, man.
This is the dorky one, and I'm going to go through your connector first. Here's your green wire. That turns it on and off. The green wire on the 24-pin plug. All you need to do is get your jumper. You can tell what I'm going to do. Jumper it in on green. Jumper it in on any of the black ones. Ta-da! That's your on-off signal. I have a headlight over here, a halogen headlight. Here is a load. That lets me see it if it works or doesn't work. I took one of these plugs already and I cut off the yellow and black. So there you go. So if everything goes good, I've got the jumper in. I've got a load resistor on. Let's take this dump. This is a dumpster dive power supply. Let's see what happens. I think we're working. It works. It works. Here's the yellow wire. Off the green. On off. Hopefully you guys can see that. The next thing to check is to check the fan. Because a lot of times these don't work. And this one has a dead fan. This one is not spinning. It's a goner. I'm gonna have to change the fan there. It's trying to go, but it's not going. So enter the 80 millimeter fan. And these come in a variety of ways off eBay and Amazon. These are both 80 millimeter fans. And so if I left it like this, eventually the power supply would heat up. But as you can see, the screw holes line up there. Same height, same width, same footprint. So we're going to put this supply to work with a brand new fan and get it going. So let's say we did all that work. I'm going to disconnect it. And I'm going to pull off the jumper, undo the plug. Yeah, it will not work until you jumper this sucker. So let's try one that I've already jumpered inside. So this one I've already jumpered inside. There's the bananas. So I drilled some holes. There's the power switch. Did that. Might as well plug it in while I'm here. This is the poor man's distribution box, which is a bunch of power poles. So enter my test setup for testing power supplies. It's a voltmeter, a load strip, which is the West Mountain, rig runner, and let's turn this puppy's on switch on. This is the one I just modified. Whoops. Can you see that? Okay, I hope you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, so it's putting out juice. And now we've got enough juice on this distribution block to power up a bunch of radios. So I'm going to cheat and just hook up my clip leads here. And voila, that power supply passes the test. And it's putting out 34 watts, 2.7 amps. So that power supply is good. So we're going to disconnect that one. And this is the surprise. So besides computer ATX supplies, here's my surprise entry. You saw it on the screen where you could buy these, 2 of them for $18. So I did. Being a cheap ham, I bought 2 of them. And this is the mods I had to do. I had to put in a couple little jumper wires here, just 2 wires for power on, and then 2 more wires for the fan, and the rest are output wires. So I used number 10 stranded, and then to the power pole and bananas. Both of the supplies worked, thank goodness, when I got them. So let's give it the old light bulb test. See, black to black. Do I have it right, Kevin? Is black to black and red to red correct? I think so.
I think so.
Let's put this plug in and see what happens. See how much smoke comes out of it. Holy cow. We got light. We got a quiet fan. So if you notice on the website, these things had no fans. So guess what? These 80-meter case fans and ATX power supply fans fit these Hewlett-Packards too. So I just cut a hole in the case, put the fan on, hooked it 12 volts. Now the air goes straight in and diverts out each end out of the fins.
I have a question, Bruce.
Go ahead, question.
So on the power supply you're demonstrating now, I notice it has two 12-volt outputs, and you said on the side it was rated at 56 amps. So is that 56 amps divided 50% on each one of those terminal blocks? In other words, to get maximum current, do I need to hook it to both sets, or can I pull 56 amps out of one set?
If it was me, I'd parallel red to red and black to black. It seems
Cool.
like it's two separate 12-volt supplies, but when I measure it with my ohm meter, they are already on parallel, and these are made to hot swap. They're made to plug into the server and click this latch,
Mm-hmm.
and then plug it in, and then away it goes. These are hot swappable server supplies.
So maybe if somebody was going to build a super power supply and put it into service, and you might draw 45 or 50 amps, for intermittent communications, you probably you would suggest paralleling the two reds and the two blacks to get maximum current safely out of the unit.
That's right. I will,
Okay.
and I have an example of paralleling the reds and blacks here in a second.
Okay, well then I'll just stop speaking. Thank you.
Hey, and by the way, you will need to buy these fan grills. I showed them on the demonstration. They're about 70 cents each, and they work great for protecting your fingers. So off goes the 56 amperes. These are the two I've lately done. So just to show you, I've done a couple. Got a little bit of experience doing them. And these were both dead away until I fixed them, put new fans in them. So here is the super duper surprise I've got for you. Yes, I went out and bought the 1100 watt $20 supply off eBay. This is the HP, and it puts out 74 amps out of these plugs. Black, red, black, red, black, red, black, red. And then these are the power enable to make it turn on like we're used to. Here's your outputs here. And let's see, do I have anything safely I can do here? Let's see. Holy cow. It came on. It's true. It's true. And let's do this. Oh, let's see. There it is, humming away. And the proof will be in the pudding if it lights the light. Holy cow, it does. So, if you can hear me over this power supply, which I'll shut off. That's what it looks like and sounds like. That is a real bugger there, boy, that boy. This one weighs about 5 pounds. And if you hook it up to 220 volts, it's got a weird plug on the back with sideways blades on it. That's why I had to get this 12 gauge power cord. But anyhow, 120 volts, 12 volts, 74 amps. But if you hook it up to 220 to 240, 12 volts goes up to 106 amps. See, if you need 106 amps continuous and you can stand the noise of that noisy fan. So far, I would say this one I will not buy again, but I would purchase these, and I would purchase the other one I showed you too. I like both of these for alternatives for ham radio power supplies. See, did I forget anything? I showed you that. This, I think that's it. Let me switch you back to ground central here. And let's see if you copy me. Hey, there I am. Scary. But anyhow, that's my presentation. Thank you for sitting through it. And if you have any questions, fire away.
Hey, Bruce, real quick, there was a question in the live feed for Jason. Could you maybe try to explain just a little bit the difference between a linear and a switching power supply? Like what separates the function of both of those?
Sure, I'd be happy to. A linear supply will take, I wish I had my graphic up. It takes the voltage through a linear amount of steps of rectification, filtering, regulation, and output. It's all like connected in a chain. But a switching supply breaks that into little slices. It breaks the DC in the beginning. You know, the ACN goes into rectification to DC. This is where they differ. At that DC point, switching supplies cut the DC into a square wave at 25 kilohertz usually. And after it's cut into a square wave, it can run through a much smaller weight transformer and then go into rectification again to give you your output. So the switching supply breaks up the DC into very high frequency, and the linear supply is just kind of like on a rope. It's there and it's regulating between input and output and varies wherever you adjust it. How's that? I hope that helped.
I don't remember the name of the gentleman that asked, but that was pretty thorough.
It was Don. That was good, Bruce. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, 2 Meter Crew. Thank you, Ham Radio TV. Thank you, everybody, the YouTube and the Mount Vaca Radio Club.
Well, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So, Bruce, can you explain to us, if you could, please? You know, when we hear the buzz, you know, everybody says, "Hey, your power supply has buzz." What is that?
Oh, thank you, Kevin. That's usually ripple on the output. If I had a whiteboard, it would be the DC is not continuous like a battery. The DC has little bumps on it, and that's called ripple. And that gets into your audio, and that makes you sound pretty bad. And most wall wart supplies have ripple on them. Most bigger supplies with regulators don't have ripple.
All right, cool. Do those supplies you showed us?
Kevin, you went away.
You broke up.
You muted yourself.
I muted myself. I'm trying to get fired.
Yeah, big.
Do they have over voltage protection on those supplies you just showed us?
Yes. The computer supplies definitely have over voltage protection.
Cool.
If you go into these supplies and you try to bump them up to a higher voltage, which I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
You find the right resistor and change it. As soon as you get to a certain point, it'll cut off and shut off the supply. So far, every single one of these has high voltage or over voltage protection.
So that's a really cool safeguard for your ham radio, so you don't have to worry about blowing the thing up on accident.
At least not by the power supply. Yeah.
At least not by the power supply. That's cool. All right. Go ahead. Somebody else ask a question. Oh, I did. I saw something in the comment where somebody was asking about, does that resistor get too hot? And I've seen them before, and what you've done, they get their minimal amount of heat off those resistors. Plus, you mount the thing right there where the cool air on the fan's coming through anyways. So have you ever had a problem with that?
Yes. The resistors get warm to the touch. So that's why some people just say using a 5 watt. but I use 10 watts, and they get half as well. They have more dissipation area. They get half as warm basically, and instead of using cable ties, I've used stainless steel wire to wrap around the resistor and tie it. Or on one of these two, I actually used plumber's tape. That's the galvanized tape with all the holes in it. And I made a U bracket. I made a U bracket like this to go over the resistor. And I put in 2 screws. So the a metal to ceramic interface really cools it off, but they don't really get hot. They're let's see, where are they bolted to? I can't even see where I bolted it on there.
One of them you showed me before. You had it bolted on the perforated part of the chassis where the air was flowing through.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem to me like it got that hot.
No. It's a concern. It's definitely a concern. And yeah, I hit it. Oh, this is the one with the plumber's tape. Now you can't see it very good, but there's plumber's tape right by my finger. See this?
Yeah, just barely.
See that screw?
Yeah.
The resistors on plumber's tape.
Yeah. Without the flashlights, better. We can see it better.
Oh, there you go.
Cool.
It goes left and right. The resistor's under here.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to all you guys and the video community out there. Mount Vaca Radio Club, Ham Radio TV, especially for producing, and the 2 Meter crew for having me, and of course all the YouTubers out there watching and listening. So it was wonderful for me to present this. I hope it helps somebody.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Bruce.
All right.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
That was fantastic, Bruce. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that.
That was very cool, man. Very cool.
I want to ask Tim something. Hey, Tim, can you move over to Kevin's microphone? Because your microphone's off.
Well, is it
still
can you hear me
can't
now?
No, if you tap it, we can't hear you.
Can't hear me now? No, nothing?
Oh, there, you better.
Okay.
So what did you think? By the way, I'm an ex-Travis mechanic on the C5A, the Lockheed. So there you go. Thumbs up there. AC-10s. Cool.
Yes.
So what did you think, man?
It's good learning about the power supplies. I've torn apart some before, but never actually tried to repurpose them. It's like, I've never actually owned a ham radio, and I'm probably going to be purchasing one later this year once I move.
Well, wonderful, wonderful.
We're going to make him get his license before he leaves. Because I heard we could do the online license. I've been hearing a lot about that. So we'll get his license and get him a Yaesu, one of Jason's Yaesus. We'll do that.
Do you ever say this, Tim? Do you say, I'm established on the ILS and I have the outer marker?
Well, we don't really use the outer marker anymore, but established on the approach.
I'm old.
Yeah.
You don't have to use outer, middle, and God.
No.
Oh, geez. Okay. You don't have to tell me what you use now, but that shows you how
well
old
GPS is.
Bruce, he didn't even hesitate. You said I'm old. He just said, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, they use computers now. They stopped using navigation devices made out of wood a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Wood and fabric. You guys, did you guys let the multitudes in on Zoom yet, or is it still locked out?
Nope. The door is wide open. Come on in.
Oh, okay. How many do we have?
In Zoom?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I can count that high.
I see Justin, Roy, is it Christia, Robert, Chris, Brad, Bert, Dave, man. And let's see who else. Nick, Carlos, Kevin, and Tim, Jason, and Mike, and me. There must be others, but My screen's not showing more than that.
Now, Bruce, on some of those less expensive power units that you order, do you have noise issues from them, or are they pretty solid once you modify them?
I've had no noise. I've used one about 5 years, all the time on my Kenwood 2-meter radio out in the garage. That's my main power supply. I just brought it in here for the talk, but it has never had hum because of the power supply. It's been clean.
Interesting.
It's clean enough to run a computer. It's clean enough to run a radio too.
Yeah, good point. I can see VVR build a power supply meeting coming on.
Build a power supply. Should I leave the tube stuff out? Is that a little bit dated? Because when I went to school, I had to learn tubes. I had to pass the test on tubes.
I liked it because it kind of brought home a little of the some of the power amps that we look at that I hopefully will have one day, explaining how the tube's functioning. And
everybody should know their history.
That's right. I like the history of it.
Thanks, man. I've got one somewhere around here. Let me find it. Oh, yeah.
I just thought that was fascinating to see him pulling out information where people can get, a really nice high amperage power supply, even a couple of them for like $20. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one of the big takeaways from this is, this hobby has consistently been kind of pushed in the direction of things are really expensive, and to have choices out there to make things super affordable for people with just a little bit of know-how or a little bit of help, I think is great to help get more people into the hobby and give more people the opportunity to do things that maybe they wouldn't be able to do. Maybe there's someone out there watching that, would love to own a home radio or a radio for their shack, and all they have is something mobile because they're like, man, to buy this and that and the other thing, it's all so much money. But now they have an option, a $20 option to get some power to their rig. So it was awesome.
I got a question.
I see a thumbs up down there.
Bert, go ahead.
Is that Corey? Who's giving me a thumbs up? Well, I see a thumbs up back at you. But this tube I just showed you is, how ham radios, they say, oh man, I got 50 watts, or holy cow, my HF rig has 100 watts. Guess how much this one tube puts out?
2,000.
300.
300 is very close.
Oh.
4 of these put out 1,300 watts, so it's a little bit over 200. That's about 275 watts per tube.
Is that a 572B?
Yeah, this is 572B. Who said that?
Dave.
Hey,
I was
Dave.
thinking of 811. That was my guess.
Well,
yeah, those are quite common in the Yaesu FT-991A.
So
Bert,
in the Clipperton L. They're in the Ameritron. They're in the AL811H, the high power one. What else are they in? The Yaesu. I think they're in some Collins amplifiers too.
Yeah, it's very limited because those are hard to find. Those 572Bs.
Hey, Bruce, Bert in here had a question, I believe.
Yeah.
Hi, Sam. Hey, Bert.
How you doing?
Hey.
So I made a power supply like you did a couple years ago. And so it looks like this now.
Hey.
Whoa.
I don't know what happened to it. It looked like it's like maybe metals are like touching or something like that, but it started doing this like after a while. But it only does it like on the, I think that's like the positive 12 volt, I think, that I had to connect it to.
Wow.
It looked like it started dripping like the metal or whatever it was. It looked like it was like corroding.
I think you got some stray voltage into the chassis for sure.
Yeah, it's oxidizing. Something's oxidizing.
Have you pulled apart and see if you have a component like a capacitor that let the smoke out?
I would check that. I believe you've lost the smoke in that particular piece of equipment.
I would check to see if you've got any stray voltage in that chassis.
It actually still works. I just don't know what was the corroded part that was
It could
happening.
also be that you've got metals that don't like to mix, and that maybe that those the case itself and whatever you're using for your binding post terminals there may be what's causing that oxidation. That's a
Dissimilar metals. Excellent call, Justin.
How about this? Do you have a male kitty cat?
No.
Or small dog?
Yeah, storing it outside in the rain isn't helping either.
Ah, man.
I was kind of thinking maybe he needs a male kitty cat because I think it's a mouse.
Something got in there, man. Mine are over 5 years old back here, and nothing strange like that's happened. They're scratched up and beat up looking because they've been everywhere. I even take them camping and stuff. In fact, I use one of these to run our camping refrigerator because our camping refrigerator needs 12 volts. So I use one of these things to power that when we're plugged in.
So, Bert, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, spend another $1 and modify it and get one that's not scary looking. Just saying.
Corrosion, man. Yeah.
So, Bruce, with those hot swap power supplies, have you looked into what it would take to take and grab one of the servers and actually utilize the hot swap bay in there so we could have hot swappable supplies?
Whoa, wow. Justin, good question.
Jason, where's the sound effects? That was a great question.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great? Have a rack mount, hot swappable bay of power supplies.
Yep.
And unlimited power. Oh, God. You're thinking.
Yep. Well, and it's just like your thing with 5-volt power, too. So many of our accessories that tie to the radios these days are 5-volt, and we end up with some cheap USB power supply, and you want to know where our ground loop comes from, or, So I think what you're presenting is a phenomenal idea here to utilize the tools that are cheap and available.
Okay.
Can't wait to build one.
It's okay. Well, it's not my idea. I just heard about it and then I figured it out and made my own spin-off on it. But 5 volts, boy, if you guys have Raspberry Pis or something and you're tired of those little 2-amp power supplies, both of these supplies back here have 30 amps at 5 volts. Still available. You can run your Raspberry Pi farm and all the external hard drives you want.
Bruce, what would it cost if you build one for us?
What do you mean?
Hey, Jason, how long have we been doing this Zoom sort of thing now? Like a month or so that we've been doing these now?
Well, yeah, the Zoom, we added the Zoom, 2 months, I think, but I believe this is about the 22nd or 23rd anti-net that I streamed. It wasn't like this in the beginning.
In that time, Justin's beard has really become magnificent, I think. It's really something.
Yeah, I always think of Wolverine when I get a good gander.
All right. I got to spin through here to see Justin's
I got a little
picture.
beard jealousy going.
Oh, that is awesome.
Man, look at all that hair.
I'm not looking at your beard. You guys can go ahead. I'm looking at the microphone. Is that a Perception like 220 or what? I can't tell.
That is correct, senor. It is a Perception 220.
Yeah.
But a fun thing for those of us that are playing with chroma key that I found out the other day, I was tired of right here, my graphic kept getting cut off. So a little bit of green tape.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Dang.
I just kind of.
So you're not using a backdrop.
Oh, I am.
Oh, you are.
Oh yeah, this is a real chroma key.
No, I know it's a real chroma key, but you added a green tape. Do you have a green screen or blue screen behind that?
Yeah, I've got right behind me is a green screen. Here, I'll turn off.
You're still bleeding through? Yeah, okay, gotcha.
But see how his microphone just hangs there in space in midair?
Yeah, that's cool. Well, when you purchase AKG products, they do that. They just float. they just float, and some of them don't even need cords. So buy AKG.
How about this?
Ooh, that's nice.
Green tape. Hey.
So I've got a few smart guys in here, and I'd like to ask another question. Moving away from power supplies, this is something that I'm going camping next week, and I'm very curious on. Let me share my screen with this here. Okay. But I need to click this. Oh, right.
Hey, that's a buddy pole coil.
Yeah,
It's a lightsaber.
Yeah, so those are buddy pole coils, and the idea is they're loading coils, so they magically shorten your antenna. But my question is,
your wife get a hold of that thing?
Is they so I want to do 80 meters on a dipole is asking a lot. It's a very long situation, and these coils cannot do it. But what I was thinking is you can buy this coil. So it's hard to see in the picture, of course, but this is one larger coil just for 80 meters to run a vertical type setup. But I'm thinking a little bit, what if I just put them together? Wouldn't that, and then, put the jumpers appropriately. And then my next question is when I would set this up, how would I test this? How do you test with either an antenna analyzer, if I wanted to compare, because I'm going to go borrow the big one from Doug, KI6UJH, and so I'll be able to compare them soon. But I was just curious, how do you measure those two?
I'm pretty sure you stand at one end and hold it while someone keys up. Oh, okay, never mind. I could be wrong about that.
You're probably right, but the 80 meters needs more inductance. That's when that coil is larger, and it has the one wire on it to adjust the windings for the different spots on the band. The thing that's going to happen is you'll put those two coils together, and yes, there'll be a lot more inductance. So you'll probably have to leave one of them, probably the one on the top, with it fully open, and then the one on the bottom, you're going to have to do some experimentation to find out where to put that, and then pick a frequency and look at your MFJ analyzer, and don't touch the analyzer. Set it up on your coax, and then move the jumper around and go and try to determine when your match gets closer and closer to 50 ohms at the particular frequency. And when it dips down to something below 2, if it can, then go turn the frequency knob and see if you can, if there's a flatter spot, and you're just going to have to go back and forth, because the other coil is a larger coil with more inductance, and I'm going to go guess it's probably got a little bit better bandwidth, but when you put all those other two in series, it'll probably work after monkeying around with it. But who knows what your bandwidth is going to be? It's probably a tight bandwidth anyways.
Yeah.
It's a buddy pull. You got to get out there and adjust it to make it work for your particular situation.
And what's interesting is, I kind of came up with this because I was thinking about it, and I saw the website, and I'm like, well, what if I just screw them together? And I can't find anyone on the internet that has done this. Now, I haven't done a deep dive search for it or anything, but I'm just thinking I'm effectively making it longer by screwing them together. And, I'm guessing Buddy Pole doesn't want you to do that, because then they can't sell you that third coil.
Right. But make sure when you look at the way the windings are turned, let's just say the windings are going, you can't see I'm turning like this with my finger, going from left to right. And you make sure both coils are stacked so the turns are all going in the same direction.
Good point.
So you don't accidentally put the other one opposite.
Jason, before you start screwing stuff together, I just want you to remember Bert's power supply.
Hey, Jason, I can show you my super antenna. It's portable and it uses that same concept. I use loading coils to either it's 80 or I have a coil that goes from 40 through 6. And the one of the coils is 80 to 75. And I can show you what those coils look like, but it's basically that same concept.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a concept I'm familiar with. I just haven't experimented with yet. So.
And Jason, the only fear I would have with it is I feel like they might actually work more like traps because of that gap in between there, right? And so you might get some weird radiation in the middle there versus having one big coil working together. So.
Yeah, make some extra long leads so you can tap and still use the 10 through 40 meters also as well. You know, where you go to the bottom of your largest coil, so it'll be a long lead that you have to tap up there, and use your analyzer so you can tap 10, 15, 20 also as well.
Okay.
Good idea. You might accidentally invent time travel as well.
Well, I'm only going to Petaluma, so not that far. But I know 80 has been pretty active with some of the local guys, and I'd love to be able to chat with you while I'm up there.
But you're going to have to take your cool microphone with you. We won't talk to you unless you have your cool YouTube audio. I'm
going to try to pack light, and the idea of the vertical too is I foresee it going up pretty quick because I don't have to get so fancy with those outriggers. And then what you do is you run 66 feet of counterpoise, and then you bend it. I'm not sure how far away you bend it, maybe halfway. So you go straight out from the vertical, and then you bend it 90 degrees. That's what the instructions kind of read.
So you're gonna do an L.
What? I'll breathe hard, they'll hear it.
So it has to be a 60-foot long, or you can break it up into 230s.
Well, yeah, that they do allude to the more radials, the better. But what they're just trying to give you is an option to as quickly as you can kind of set it up, you know. And they also say to keep it off the ground 2 feet. So I'm kind of brand new into the science behind verticals. I've been, experimenting a little bit with inverted V's and dipoles, and they seem to be pretty straightforward. But then obviously you need to, get it up pretty high and then get the ends onto something. And I'm also expected to barbecue, and I've got a wife and kids, and they like me around too. So.
See, Benjamin is showing off antenna coil there. You see that?
I was going to ask him what that is.
What do you got there? Here we go. Let me click that button. I don't know why I can't unmute some people. We can't hear you, Corey, and I can't unmute you.
There, you got me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is it. This is a super antenna. Okay.
All right.
And that's the 80-meter coil that screws onto it. And the bottom coil is this one, is the one that runs 10 through 40. And it has a adjustment slider to adjust your tuning. And I have a ruler that has a frequency marker on it. And I put it at the bottom of it, and it tells me whatever frequency I want to work, where I need to set the coil. And only thing I noticed about the 80-meter one, when I attached this 80-meter one, that is pretty narrow banded. But other than 80, the 40 through 10, and it works phenomenal. And yes, it works better the lower I have it to the ground. And I have grounding wires that clip onto the bottom of this. I have clips onto the bottom of this. And then the wires spread out, run whatever frequency I want to run, 40, 20, 10, or 6. and they spread out. I spread them out in different directions, separate them. I've been testing trying to elevate it and then hang the wires up off of the ground. And I saw that the wires like being closer to the ground. Still works fairly well, but the lower I keep it to the ground, the better it works. And I was surprised how good it works with the wires lower to the ground. I have a pole that I cut, and it likes being mounted to metal. I don't know why either, but it does. I guess part of ground. And a pole that's about 5.5 feet tall, and I have a mount to that, and I stick it on that. And I found out that has worked the best for me. I've worked 20 meters, 40 meters, no problem. I haven't worked 17, 15, or 12, 10, anything like that. Been listening to 10 a little bit. 75 I can work and listen to. 80 meters I can work and listen to, but it's very narrow when I go up that high. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think there's so many things to build, and it's just so much fun doing it. I've been having my eye on one of those DX Commanders, which is a fan dipole, but it's vertical. So that also uses a bunch of radials.
Hey Corey, what's the going price on one of those super antennas?
The starting point was probably around $189, and that was just for the basic. And you only get just the 40 through 10 one, and then it just comes with like a mount. I'll show you one of the mounts. Hold on.
By the way, anyone out there watching on YouTube, the link is here in chat.
This is a versatile mount.
Okay.
So it also has a U-clamp that I can attach this to, so I can attach it either on a fence, I can attach it on a barbecue, I can attach it on a pole because it has the U-clamp. This top part, I'm sorry for I gotta remember where the camera's at. This top part and this piece pivots, so it rotates any direction. And both of these pieces rotate. You see the screws, so it'll rotate in any direction, and it works fairly well. I have a whip for it, like a stainless steel. It's what is it, like platinum or something? A whip for it that's pretty versatile. It's on part of my case, on my go bag. I don't know if you can see the whip. That's the go bag. It all tucks in there. And then I have another one that's retractable also. Hold on. This one, and this is adjusting also. And I guess you can get another coil for this. You can work 2 meters. It's a really small coil, and this adjusts also to whatever frequency you want to work it on. Like between 40 to 20, I'll open it all the way up. And then the other whip is pretty versatile, but it works all the frequencies. And there's no adjustment on that whip. No adjustment. But I found out this slider one seems to work a little bit better. Yeah, so far. That seems to work a little bit better. I also have expanding poles on it, and I have a tripod so I can mount it, but I kind of made my own also. It has a grounding stake too. Yeah.
Hey Corey, this is Bruce. How long, Corey, is that extending rod antenna? Full length. What would you say it is? 10 feet?
8.5 feet when I open it all the way up.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. No problem. Yeah. When I set it all the way up, it extends 8.5 feet. Yeah. So I was pretty surprised, and I got some good results back on it too. It being they call it a compromised antenna, but for what it works and being able to make it so versatile, I always wanted something that's going to be versatile.
You got to run some ground radials out with that too, right, Benjamin? When you set it up,
yeah, it comes with it. Yeah.
How many do you normally put out? Yeah.
I have ground radios that come with it.
Do you recall how much power that antenna is rated for?
300 watts.
Okay. Wow.
300. Yeah. Yeah. So I was pretty impressed with it, and like I said, it's been. I've worked with it several times now, trying to get comfortable setting it up and everything. I can set it up like in 30 minutes. Yeah. You can set it up, and I'll be broadcasting in 30 minutes. I got portable power now. I hooked up that I have hooked up to it, so I can go totally portable. I have a lithium battery. It is, I forgot how many amps it is, but.
And what model is that again?
The antenna?
Yeah.
It's a super antenna.
Okay.
I got the the MP1DX.
Super
antenna. MP1DX.
On my
super antenna. Super antenna MP1DX.
You can order pretty much anything
for
it through Amazon.
Yeah.
How much is
I had
it?
a better deal going through HRO. It seems like there was only the straight direct place that carried this product, which is why I went straight to them, because they had everything that went with this in different packages that you could choose from.
Okay. That's interesting because their website links you directly to Amazon.
God.
Yeah.
You go to superantenna.com and it shows you a breakdown of all of the things that you described, and then there's a big buy on Amazon right there, and it's got
They don't
all
want
the
to
different
handle the distribution, I guess.
Yeah, why fight Big Brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got a comment to make about the that line of antennas, the super antennas.
Yeah.
How long have you used yours? Are you pretty new to it?
I'd say I've had it probably about 4 months now.
Okay.
I've had about 4 months, and I've used it. I pulled it out, set it up, probably about five or six times now.
And have you compared it to other antennas that you've gone portable with? Or is this
I have not compared it to. Yeah, I did a lot of research. It took me a while to really decide which one I wanted and to look for an investment, like the Buddy Pole. So the Buddy Pole was another great portable antenna. Except if you read up on it, it took a little bit longer, to tune. So I wanted something that would be a little bit easier to tune. Yes, it's another great antenna, so I wouldn't knock it. If that's something you want to take time with to set up and to work with and tune it. And it has great performance because it's a bigger antenna, but you have to set up and get comfortable with the variations of how you want to set it up, and being comfortable with the portable of setting it up and tuning it. And I just found out from research that this one was better for tuning, faster to tune, and just easier to set up. Like if you just want to go out and go portable for the weekend and you only had a short amount of time, say a couple hours just to get out, you could do this in 30 minutes, set it up in 30 minutes, start talking, and easy to tear down. You'd be tearing down in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, so that was actually my first portable antenna I purchased. Actually, it was my first antenna, period. And I was kind of a little disappointed because I made it my antenna at the home QTH, just to get started. They're beautiful antennas, and they pack really small. I found that they made for nice QRP work to be very portable on the go, as you're mentioning, quick and easy to tune. But I much prefer using a larger antenna. I tend to have better QSOs, but there again, if you've got a vehicle, you can travel with all that stuff. It makes it easier. What you've got there, you can have in your backpack. So that's why I asked.
Absolutely. This antenna even mounts on your mobile. So it has a clip on it to where you can tighten on the coil and they can even mount on a mobile. So if you want to put it on your car, you can do that also.
Yeah,
and this antenna likes open space. So if you did it for your house, there's a lot of stuff around, that's going to compromise it. But if you, took it out somewhere in an open field and you had a lot of stuff,
yeah. No, I'm just comparing notes.
Probably work much better.
Yeah, I was just comparing notes. I did use it in an open area. I just let's see. I ended up getting the Silver Bullet, and what's the name of the group there? Kind of forget. Wolf River Coil, much longer antenna. To your point, not as easy to tune. Takes a little more work, but I just had more luck with it. When you're going out camping or whatever, you're there overnight and getting as many QSOs as you could. So I was asking because I was wondering who uses this, because they do sell quite a lot of hams for the very first time. I got to say,
I haven't known anyone that used this so far except me. So.
No. Hey, you know what? The ham radio outlet in Woodbridge, Virginia, I've now met 2 hams at the time are recent to the hobby. Bought the same antenna from the same guy, and along with an ICOM 7300. And they were like, well, hey, what can I do to get started right away? 2-meter HF. And I still value it. I've got it in my closet right now. I like it. It's really pretty, but I just don't end up using it so much compared to the other antennas I have. That's why I was asking you.
Devin built up a or something.
Kevin begs the opportunity to speak on this here.
Go ahead,
Kevin
please.
Kevin has something right there too, a coil.
You got something super?
That's a big one.
It's got to be super.
That's a monster.
Well, you guys were talking about getting taking an antenna out and getting 80 meters work in or whatever.
Oh, that's a screwdriver.
Bruce.
What?
You're not allowed to talk right now.
You're stealing his thunder.
Yeah. Bruce, but Bruce, just so you know, nobody listen for a second. Everybody plug your ears. I'm going to tell a good story about you, Bruce, in just a minute. How you won that contest. Okay. So, anyways, that was for Bruce. So, this happens to be a screwdriver antenna. Here, let's see if this works. Does that work? So,
Yes.
here's a screwdriver antenna, and this is you plug your coax in the bottom here, and here's your 12 volts, and then your coil is underneath here, and this little piece of plexiglass tubing is a protection for the coil that moves up and down. And then I don't know if you can see it very well. Here, let me see if I can't get it. Here, let me bust my camera lens. There we go. Right there is the 3/8 thread that CB antennas, 102-inch whips, and 3/8 fine thread, all thread rod will fit into. So this happens to be a High Sierra that came from the guy up in Nevada City, but there's a ton of these out there. Well, not only this brand, but the Don Johnson version of it, which I have 2 or 3. I couldn't find the Don Johnson one. I have one on my van that I use on my HF mobile. I have a spare one. And the reason I brought this up is, say you're going camping and you want a cool antenna that just works on a bunch of bands and you don't want to put up a big dipole. If you have a trailer like Bruce and Jason has and others, you could put a pole on the back and you can get this thing up above the top of your, just above the top of your trailer or your motorhome. Or in my case, I used a tripod stand, like a speaker or lighting stand kind of a thing. I clamped it onto this clamp right here. And then what I did is I ran the coax back to the radio, and on the Don Johnson has a shunt coil on the bottom of it, which is adjustable, or you can make your own. And I'm telling you, these things work great. Bruce did it on his trailer. And Bruce, how long is your Stinger? The one that you talked to me on 80 meters? How long is that?
Was I muted?
Yeah, you were muted.
Bad operator error on Zoom. I've got a Don Johnson screwdriver. like much cheaper than that one Kevin's got there. That High Sierra is a really good one. But
This is, Don Johnson works just as good. It really does.
But the Don Johnson is a homemade one out of a hunk of aluminum pipe and some PVC, and then they wrapped wire around the PVC pipe and put a cover on it and a label. But anyhow, the Don Johnson lower part, like Kevin was holding, is 4 feet long. And then I put 2 extensions. I put an 8 feet long CB antenna on top of that. And then I put 2 3-foot extensions below that. So what's that, Kevin? What's 8, 2, and 2?
It's more than 10 feet.
All right. So it's around, what is that, 14 feet? And then, then the bottom of the thing is 4 more feet. So it's 18 feet long, fully collapsed. And then when I run the motor up and down on the Don Johnson part, it extends up another 2 feet. So it becomes, who was saying it? Was it Mike? Was saying that the longer, it gets a signal out there. So it's about 20 feet. And then I put a counterpoise on it, 8 more feet. So it's 28 feet from bottom to tip. So how's that, Mike? That's what my screwdriver is. It's 28 feet long total.
So my point is you go to all the trouble to do all this stuff. Go find a used Don Johnson was a very nice man. I bought mine from him. We bought brand new ones for about $100 a piece that he made in his shop, and he's since passed away. And he was a super nice guy. And I have 3 of those, a parter and 2 that work. And I acquired this one on a radio trade because I just thought it was cool. But the bottom line is when Bruce goes out and uses that long stinger, he parks his vehicle. Like if you're going to go put a buddy pull up or a dipole or something like that, you're not driving with it. You can set that thing up with that long stinger and your counterpoise. And with 100, he has talked to me easy halfway across the United States on 100 to 200 watts. And it's awesome. And I have one mounted on my van when I drive around with it. I know it looks stupid, but that's okay because I put a helically wound CB radio whip in the top of it, and mine works from 20 meters through 80 meters, and it works great. I'm driving around town. This is a perfect example. I'm driving around one day, talking on 80 meters, going down I-80, and these guys were talking about mobiles and stuff, and they didn't know I was in a mobile. And some fellow goes on, yeah, getting 80 meters to work in a vehicle is almost impossible. It's like we can't even hear you. And I'm like, oh, really? And I said, you know what? I happen to be talking on my Kenwood TS480 into a Don Johnson screwdriver antenna with a 4-foot CB whip for the stinger. And the guy's like, you got to be kidding me. And I did not figure all this out. There's a bunch of guys that figured it out before me and shared their information. So if you guys are interested in experimenting with these old screwdriver antennas, don't be afraid of them. You see them in a swap meet for $50, buy it. You can, and if you find the right person, you'll find the right person that said, I could never get this thing to tune. No matter what I did, the SWI was never good. And then you ask them the simple question, did you work on the shunt coil at the bottom? What's a shunt coil? There's your answer. So Bruce knows how to make a shunt coil.
Oh, thank you. I've got a diagram. If Jason, can you flip over here?
Sure can.
Here's a diagram of my screwdriver. I'll show you the screwdriver. The screwdriver part is right here. This is the part that goes up and down, and the coax feeds there. So down below it, I've got a counterpoise of 12 feet.
And that's your pole that holds it up, right?
Yeah, it's 3 poles.
Okay.
3 4-foot poles.
Those green military ones?
Yeah.
Nice.
Aluminum. They're grounded. And then the screwdriver is right there. It's 4 feet. I can't see backwards. Okay. And then above that, I put a 3/8 extension that's 3 feet. another 3/8 extension. It's 3 feet. And then this is a CB whip on top. So that's 14 feet. Even though it says FF, it's FT. 14 feet. So 14, 4, and 12. And then the bumper is down there. And for some reason, this is all the way above the roof too. The roof of the RV is like about right here. And here's the bumper. There's the bumper. There's the roof. The screwdriver is above the roof. It's an aluminum trailer.
Where are the happy trees?
And people say, "What is that? A spaceship? Or are you talking on CB or
time travel?
Are you calling Mars?" You know, they ask me all these crazy, and I tell them it's ham radio, and they go, "What's ham radio?" I go, "Well, it's kind of like Citizens Band radio." And they go, "Well, what's that? What's Citizens Band radio?" And then I go, "Oh."
Isn't that about the time you ask him to leave your campground? Right about then?
You know, it's two-way radio. And they go, "Well, I don't know what two-way radio is." And I go, "Well, it's like the police and fire department talk out of their cars. You know, it's two-way radio." So I don't know what they're teaching in school nowadays, but they don't know about two-way radio. So that's my screwdriver. And that thing kicks. That wasn't my sound effect. Who was that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
This little Jason. This thing folds up into a package 4 feet long, and I stow it under the seat in my trailer. But it talks almost as good as a base station. Almost.
And he's not exaggerating.
Have you used a capacity hat on yours, Bruce or Kevin?
No,
nope,
not yet.
I have not. I have a big old bug catcher, but I've never used it.
Oh, I love the bug catcher.
Really? Does it work good?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
It's the most efficient antenna, even more efficient than the screwdriver.
Because they sell that as an accessory at a buddy pole, and I was like, well, that's pretty interesting. I've not seen that in action yet.
Yeah. I drive with my HF antenna. Was that Dave? Yeah.
Yeah.
I drive with my antenna on, so I'm going 60, 70 miles an hour down the road in my van, and my van is 6 feet tall, and my screwdriver antenna is completely above the top of my rack. So I measured it, so it's fully extended for 80 meters. I'm right at 14 feet. And I did when I had which is below legal limit. And there was an overpass. I was taking
that's what I was going to think.
Yeah, if you're in the right-hand lane and you're going to Oakland Airport and you go through Vallejo, there's one overpass in the right-hand lane that's just under 14 feet. And it bent my stainless steel whip. So then my van looked more like an electric car from the carnival. But it works. That's the reason I did that. But man, I've had so much fun with that thing, driving around. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got a needle.
But I wanted to bring up Bruce's way he did is he sets it up at his campground and when he's going on vacation, and he's louder than a lot of the big. It's funny. He'll be down in San Diego or Yosemite or Grand Canyon or Mars. I don't know how he got his trailer to Mars, but he did. And the guy is as loud as these base stations. It just sounds good. And it's because he's got a nice vertical resonant antenna with a decent counterpoise. I mean, that's got to be it. I mean, it just
don't know. Thank you, Kevin.
Just works. Anyways, just thought I'd bring that up. We're talking, and so we switch from power supplies to antennas. Cool conversation.
Chris, what's that? Is that Don Johnson?
Yes.
Hey, Bruce said you guys could bring my antenna out. I didn't get any royalties out of that.
Bruce, can you email me that file? I can throw it on my webpage or something, and we can all take a look at it.
The file of what?
Your presentation tonight.
Oh, it's 28 megs long. It won't fit in my email.
Google Drive or something. Upload.
Yeah, we have to do it over the web or something.
Yeah. Pull it down and I put it up on the website. It's a pretty good presentation. I really liked it.
Oh, okay. All right. I will. Let me see if I can do that.
Well, not now. You can do it later, after.
I got you.
So what else is on people's mind tonight?
Jason, text us when you're camping so we can talk to you on HF radio.
Okay, I'll let you guys know. I'll share something kind of fun this week. So about a year ago, I got the Yaesu FT-991A, great radio. I did a video, and anyways, I kind of joked a bit because I opened the box and it had all the goods, but DX Engineering didn't give me stickers. I felt gypped. I just spent over $1,000 and no stickers. Yeah, I got over it. So anyways, so yesterday in the mail, this shows up. K4DWP, Dennis there in South Carolina, and look what he sent me.
All right.
Yeah, so he sent his QSL card, and he said he just got his 991 Alpha, and he saw my video.
Nice.
And he said he enjoyed it, and it sounded like I needed some stickers. So how about that? He sent me his. Thought that was pretty fun.
That's cool.
That was cool.
I came with stickers.
I know, right? It's just one of those things. Although I got to tell you, does ICOM come with a world map? Is that something ICOM does? Do you know? So the Yaesu comes with a beautiful world map, and that, you know,
Yeah.
if you can't make up your mind, ICOM or Yaesu, maybe that map could push you over.
Do you have your map up anywhere?
I do. It's right there, off camera. And
I've been struggling with a place to put it, but it is a pretty sweet map.
I put it on a metal door that goes to the outside because I'm in the garage here. Yep. And that same door, I've been kind of collecting QSL cards, even though I only have a few. But I think I'm going to get ready to print some. We talked about that last week. And gotta do it. Can't keep talking about stuff. So what else, Bruce? Oh, Bruce. What is Bruce doing? Bruce it says, please stand by. Oh, man.
I had to take a nature break.
Oh, okay.
He's just got a video. He printed that and put it under his under his camera.
I don't know if that's better or the Don Johnson dancing around on Chris's screen. I don't think that's the antenna guy there, Chris.
I met the real Don Johnson, and that doesn't. I mean, they're similar, but it's not quite the same. I do have a question for Nick. So the Northwest Hamshack. I checked. I thought you were you're rebroadcasting the stream tonight. Did you not do that?
No, I thought I did.
Oh,
I did. Yeah, Chris jumped on and said hi.
Is it on now?
No, I just ended it.
That would explain it because I just looked to see if it was gone. I'm like, okay.
Well, you could have jumped on and said hi like for the last hour and a half, but you didn't.
Yeah, well, I'm slow. I just remembered. So what do you got? What do you got coming in your bag of tricks? What's coming up for the Northwest Hamshack?
I don't know. I tried to talk my wife into letting me introduce her to everybody on YouTube, and she said no. So
dude, you
that's out.
Dolores actually came. You were here last week when she?
Yeah, I was.
Right? Everybody's like, "Hey, who's that? Your daughter?" I go, "I have another one that looks just like her."
Yeah, Dolores was a better looking guest than your current guest tonight. I got to say, I'm just throwing it out there.
just saying.
Good.
Yeah. Well, this is Tim. He's
Tim's cool and all, but
he's cool. Yeah. So, anyways, well, yeah, to get the wife to come on TV, you got to just take it easy. Actually, she's going to get her license, I think.
Cool.
So that would be really, really cool. Because as I get closer and closer to retirement, sooner than later, this is what I'm going to do. We're gonna play ham radio and we're gonna make stuff, and and help people and things of that nature. It's gonna be fun.
I think we potentially could see a lot of hams if the league and all the other clubs out there really start to put together a strong online presence. Because if you think about it, the $15, that ain't much. Studying, it depends. You can make it fun, especially if you are in the house and your wife or husband is not yet licensed. But sometimes to find that date, find the time, drive your butt there. I mean, for instance, when I took my general, I had to drive to a cemetery funeral home. I mean, that was just kind of weird, but I really wanted my general, you know, but I get it. So I think once it's super easy, do it at your house at home. I think we're going to see the numbers.
When you go into the cemetery,
yeah,
it's hard for the argument that ham radio is not dead. And you actually went to the cemetery to take your test.
Yeah. I sat in there like, I don't know if it was like a break room or kind of like a kitchen area.
No, has anybody on tonight on Zoom or on YouTube taken your ham radio test online, one of the recent ones? I've heard about it, but I'm looking.
So I didn't take it online, but I did manage to take a test here last weekend. And sort of the extraordinary measures that the group took. We did it in the BART parking lot in North Concord, and essentially they set up in the middle of the parking lot with a table for the VEs to work at, and then they had 5 chairs lined up in the parking lot in the wide open, and everybody would drive in and got into essentially a drive-in line. You had to stay in your car. And that way you didn't count towards the 10 people that Contra Costa allows to be together in a gathering. So there were 3 testers sitting at the table, 5 testees sitting at the chairs, and 1 guy kind of walking around, you know, coordinating everything, passing gear back and forth. So I sat in the middle of the parking lot. I took my general upgrade, handed it to him, got back in my car, and I went to like the waiting area of the parking lot. And fortunately, they came over with good news. So I'm in AG this week. I broadcasted on HF.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so, yeah, it was a very surreal thing, wearing gloves and mask and sitting in this chair in the middle of a parking lot with a clipboard taking my test. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I was certainly not the only one lined up in my car, you know, wanting to get a test done. So
when you were invited to sit at the table of 5, 6 feet apart to take your test, were you required to wear a mask and gloves to do so?
They said mask, so everyone did wear a mask. No one was wearing gloves, and we weren't even actually at tables. The test takers, the examiners, they were at a table that they were all about 10 feet apart. They had about 3 tables for 3 guys. We actually sat literally in a chair with no table. They told us to bring a clipboard, and we did our answers on the clipboard out there in the wide open. So.
I'm just curious, when you get your new license in the mail, can you get closer than 6 feet to it?
2 meters.
I heard it took him all of about 2.3 minutes to get it done, and he was the first person out of there.
Cool. Is your
you either know him or you don't, right? That's how it goes.
Is your HF rig set up, Chris?
I was evidently I'm not the only one who does this, although some people I guess wait, but my rig was up, tested. I had already run 2 different antennas listening.
Cool.
So, you know, I was just dying to be able to get on the air and have been so all week. In fact, I threw it into the text, but for anyone who's listening, tonight at about 9, so I got about 8 minutes, there's a secret 2-meter crew meeting on 3.925. So if anyone wants to jump on HF, especially maybe some of the folks that are farther away, some of the regular 2-meter crew guys get on there. It's about 9 o'clock. Sometimes we sneak on there and have a little chat.
Cool.
So did they change the rules? Or once you got your certificate and you passed your general, I thought you could go on the air right away.
Yeah, that's the cool part about general as opposed to technician. Right away you can broadcast. The only difference is when I give my call, instead of just N6 CMB, I do N6 CMB AG.
Right.
How long you think it's going to take to get your did they tell you how long it's going to take to get your actual license? And by the way, can you go online and look it up?
Yeah, you go online now to print it.
Yep. It should be no more than maybe a week to 10 days. From what I've heard, the FCC is keeping up with that. So I just keep checking the FCC site.
Wait, you're supposed to print it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to print it now.
Get this. My son took his general test in Fort Worth area. He had his technician, and he found, and there's several places in Fort Worth that there's a couple of retired VE people that they just hang out like on Tuesdays and Thursdays just for fun. So he found out about it, and there was one literally within a few minutes of where he worked. So he calls them up and says, "Hey, can I come to your?" They have a actual clubhouse, if you can believe that. And he goes, "Yeah, come on to our clubhouse. We're hanging out over here, and we'll give you a test." So he went over, took his test, passed it, and then the guy says, "I'm driving past the FCC office on the way home. Says I'm just going to drop your paperwork off. There was a nice lady that worked in there. I forgot her name." He goes, "She'll probably just put it in. Check online tonight. I think you're going to have your license." He had his general license in less than 8 hours from the time he took his test, because there's like 2 or 3 places, 2 that I know about, that they hang out and give tests every week, or they did. And one of them is close enough to, I guess there's an FCC field office somewhere where they can drop the paperwork off and they put it into the computer. And there it was online. W5VLF. Took him about 8 hours. Unbelievable. So it can be done. I just didn't
something that's cool that happened to me this week. My friend Brandon, you guys know, W6GHN, he was in Hawaii on a repeater there, and they heard a young kid who got on the EchoLink there, and it turned out he had his license for that. He just got his license. He got the EchoLink set up, but it was him, his mom, and his dad all tested and got their license at the same time. And this kid was 11, and he got his license, and he was super stoked, and we had a nice conversation. And so I thought it was really cool. The whole family got together and studied, and they got their license together. So it was pretty neat. I'm sure they have consecutive call signs, but it's really cool.
That is cool. I was too dumb to get mine at 11. I was 15 before I got mine. That's cool. That's very cool. All right.
Hey, Chris, you're running out of time. How are you going to go pee and get a beer and get on HF all at the same time?
I don't know. I'm going to have to prioritize things.
Maybe I'll bring that up as we close this out in a little bit. We'll listen to an SDR. I only have 40 meters right now hung off the chimney. I run a monoband inverted V, so I have to pick what I want. And typically the 20 or the 40 are dangling, ready to go. But the 80, I'd have to do a mini field day real quick, and works tomorrow. So I'll catch you guys another time.
Jason, so when you're stargazing like that, is it just beautiful?
I know. I mean, maybe I need glasses.
The guy I know that's got a what do you call it? A window sky. What do they call that? The windows in your skylight. A skylight in his ham shack.
He just left. He just said bye. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Oh man.
This is what a few big YouTubers do. So then I'll just stare like this, and I'm moving my eyes. You can't see.
Okay. Don't do that, dude. It's your thing, man. It's your thing.
You can let me know, Ishan.
So one thing, someone was asking how you can multitask like that. I was messing around with my IC 9700 today while I was working from home. I do that quite often, it seems. And so I went on 10 meters, and you can record your voice onto the SD card.
Nice.
And put your call, your CQ call in there. So I was sitting there doing work on my computer while I was making 10 meters. I was doing my 7300, not on the 9700. Obviously, you guys know that.
Now you're just bragging.
Yeah, but I was making call outs on a 10 meter calling frequency while I was doing a little work, and just letting my voice kind of repeat over and over and waiting to see if I heard anybody coming back. I didn't make any contacts. 10 meters was quiet, but it was still fun trying.
Now, does the radio loop? Because mine has that feature, but I think I haven't looked to see if it loops, but I touch a button and it plays it, and I touch a button and it plays it. But does yours just keep looping?
Yeah, you can touch a button, or if you push and hold, you get the option for a loop, and you can change the loop from like 5 seconds to 15 is the most
Okay.
I wish it was a little longer than 15, I think. I'd like to leave a little more time between my broadcasts, but that's the most you can set it to.
Nice.
Is Bruce eating dinner in front of us? Because he's making me hungry.
Here, let me put him up big for everybody.
Oh, okay.
A healthy choice.
Snack time. Sweet
I just really want to see what's behind that blanket. It's just killing me.
Ooh, what is behind that blanket? Yeah, Bruce doesn't want you to know that, Bobby.
I know. I can tell. I'm having a feeling like it's like half of his shop. It's old and school.
Well, let's see. Let me ask a question. Are we still streaming YouTube or just local right now?
We're live, Bruce. Live in the
on
world.
YouTube.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
this is
all archived.
Yeah, Bruce, we don't want you to pull your pants down in front of us, but maybe we can do it.
Oh.
You know, I meant your blanket.
Here, Bobby. There you go.
My desolder station and my soldering iron there.
Bruce, tell us what a desolder station is or does.
Jeez.
It's the reverse of a solder station.
There, that's all I'm going to show you right now.
Oh, we'll get like a little bit each week. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start moving the curtain a little. No. No.
Well, maybe it'll depend on how many likes I get, you know?
Top secret. That's my robot back there.
Yeah, if it's a felony, don't say anything. Don't do it.
I got R2D2 back there.
It could be a really trick man chair.
Well, so you know Joe Dirt.
Is it a throne?
He thinks he's got something, but really it's just a space peanut, and we're too, we don't want to tell him.
It's my control panel. It's top secret. I'm still working on it.
I like it.
Maybe someday I'll show it.
Okay, let me know when you're going to do that so I can tune out. But anyways, there's still 43 people watching and listening to us. That's just amazing. And I think it's great.
Well, Kevin, tell us what you're going to present next in 2 weeks. I don't want to miss it, so don't do anything fun next week, okay?
It's a toss-up. I was thinking about, I have a little setup for characterizing those clamp-on ferrite beads. I've talked about this a couple of times. For those of you who've already heard about it, I'm sorry. But the little ferrite beads that you clamp onto your cable, I don't know what they are. Are they 1 through 100 megahertz, 100 megahertz through? I just don't know. So and Jason has one right there. So and Jason characterized his by taking the measurements and anyways type of material and looked it up. But if you don't have that opportunity, you can use the little mini VNA, those ones that are like I think they're $69, which is a great tool to use. I'll use that, but I'm also going to use a spectrum analyzer, and we'll sweep it from like 1 meg to 2 gigahertz or something, and we'll get a visual of what these things can do for us. So that's one idea, and then there was another one I had that I shared with Mike, and I'm just so lame I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'll clue you in a little bit. I was going to try to bring up the website here, but so when you get these, the bag that it comes with is probably very important.
I'm gonna grab something. Keep talking.
And I got these swap meets miscellaneous. Probably I put some in my pocket when I was at Kevin's house. You name it. But nowhere on here does it say what they're good for, and obviously they're kind of only good for certain frequencies and megahertz typically. That we're concerned about. And so the only thing you got on here, your mileage will vary, but mine says fair-right VO, and that's it. That's all you got. So you go to that website, and they've got a pretty cool chart. I'll see if I can't bring it up once I kick it back to Kevin. But what the chart does is it has you measure all the dimensions, and you also look at if it's square or not, or in this case, I was holding this one up. This one is more of like a barrel, and you classify it, and then you measure it with a micrometer, a caliper, and then that will tell you what you have, and hopefully that's close, you know, because obviously measuring plastic, it has deflection and it moves, so it's kind of interesting to measure this little plastic casing. But you know, for instance, I had a lot more of the higher stuff. So what is it? Probably 25 megs and up. And ideally, I like these. These are 1 through 300, because you know, if you're on 20 meters, 40 meters, 80 meters, you're going to need to go lower than 25 megahertz. But matter of fact, I've been doing some FT8 lately. I don't know if I can move a camera down there, but I've got a mixing board, and the XLR that goes into the mixing board, it was bringing in a lot of FT8, and I took one of these big ones, I wrapped the XLR around twice, shut it, boom, gone. So I was pretty happy with that. Let me I can't see who's back. Let's see if Kevin, are you back?
Yeah, I came back. I have the here's the grab bag that I picked up. I literally bought this bag full of just stuff. This is a bag I got off Amazon, which was a little bit of a mystery. This was a mystery bag from one of the swaps up in the Sacramento area, and it's just full of these things. So, you know, here's a larger one for the larger cables, like, you know, the RG. Actually, it's a little bit too big, actually, for RG8. And here's some that slip over the RG8 cable, which I haven't characterized, so I don't know if these are any good. You know, and sometimes, too, you'll find out, and we'll talk about this more later. You ever see those, the ballons that you buy for your antenna, your dipole? And it's in a piece of PVC pipe. On the bottom of it, there's a coax connector you screw into. On top of it, it's got the 2 screws, and they're about this long. It's usually a piece of 213 or 214 or something like that, with a bunch of these guys and just ferrite beads stacked on top of each other, typically without the plastic. So what I was doing was I was taking this happens to have 3 windings on it. I don't no particular reason. I was just monkeying around, and I checked this one to see what its response was. And I have a smaller one here, like you put on your mouse cable, or a very small audio cable, but I didn't know what it does. So I just put a couple wraps of wire. So what we would do is we'll have the screen set up so we can capture the screen of the analyzer. And if you could imagine the line being straight on the piece of test equipment. So it starts at the low side and it goes up to the high side. The low side, let's say, is 1 megahertz, and then the high side is being gigahertz. So if you wrap a couple turns of windings through it and hook it up to your little jig, and you force the signal through here, the analyzer will now show you a curve of where this thing is attenuating the frequencies. So, you know, I put one on one time. I was like, holy cow, it's doing nothing to HF. I mean, it was taking care of some stuff up in the UHF VHF band. It wasn't this particular one, I don't think. And I was like, well, that's not doing me any good on my HF radio. And I grabbed a completely different one. Here's a white one. I have no idea. It's kind of square. I'm not sure what this is for, but it came in the grab bag. And you open these puppies up with your little screwdriver, because this one snaps. There's 3 little things that hold it, so I can't do it without the screwdriver. But anyway, so you wrap through here, and then one of them, lo and behold, it started like at 1 megahertz and just dived right through the 80 and 40 meter band. I mean, it was a serious amount of attenuation. So then I wrapped a second or third, you know, I just went, you know, 1 and 2. And as I put a few more turns through it, I noticed that, oh, it's getting more attenuation, just like Jason alluded to earlier. He put a couple turns through his and it solved his problem. So that's going to be the online experiment, because it will be a grab bag. I won't know what these are and we'll look at it. We'll look at them together, and then I'll grab some. Also over there in the other, it's a grab bag. What's a grab bag that I know what they are? I have some Type 31, Type 43, and a couple other things. A little. They're called binocular toroidals. They're two little bitty cores side by side to make little transformers. So we'll take a look at those and just see what they do, because what I've noticed has happened, and not just my station, but my other people, my friends, were like snapping these stupid cores on, going, man, I ain't doing diddly do. And then we find out that somebody sold us cores that had no effect at the frequency we wanted them to. I don't know. I have to ask Bruce this question. Aren't some of these cores floating out there from the computer or IT world, like the ones that go around your computer monitor cables and things of that nature? Those are designed to suppress those much higher frequencies, right? Coming off of those devices.
I've got to measure them. Like, this is my test jig to measure cores. I wrap 10 turns around it. And then on this core, I wrote the results. And the results were that it has between 900 and 1,000 microhenries. Same size core. And then I just write little notes on them. And then these came from computers.
When you tested them and you wrapped a couple and you looked at them on the analyzer, what frequencies were they attenuating?
I don't know. I sweep between 1 and 500 meg, and then I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
I didn't write mine. I'm not a very good ham. I didn't write mine down either. So,
but me and you do similar things. We just hook up the wires to our analyzer and sweep it, and then take notes. And I lost the notes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We'll redo it, and we'll do it. We'll learn together live. But
jeez, a bunch of amateurs.
Yeah, we are. But what's cool is Bruce and I built some pretty nice one-to-one balance, some current balance that we got. We'll go. That's another thing too. We could talk about if you guys want to, out there in YouTube land and Zoom land. If you guys want to see more stuff, technical stuff, like how we built the balun, because I can tell you that several guys in our club, myself and Bruce and a few others, we built one-to-one current baluns and we measured them against stuff that we bought. And hands down, the ones we built are just works so good, and that's something too. I just caution some of you fellows out there that are considering hooking up one of these microphones and the mixer to your HF radio. There are times that RF is coming down your line, or there's just a lot of RF coming off your antenna, getting into your shack. And weird stuff happens. It's not because your gear is broke. It's because something weird's happening. And Jason troubleshooted his and got that figured out. Nick troubleshooted his and got his figured out. So everybody's station was literally different. Everybody had a different problem. Yeah, it wasn't all the same. But I can tell you this.
I think Nick and I are brothers. We got the same mic, I think.
Just
go ahead, Kevin. What did you find out?
Nick's a teeny bit cooler. Okay, I didn't hear that. Don't tell anybody, Nick.
No, okay.
Just a teeny.
Is it still going on?
Yeah, you'll be in it.
What is that?
It's not for me.
Nobody, not me. I don't even know how to turn that part on. So we built these. Anyways, we tested them. They work good. If anybody's interested, because what I found at my station, I had some really, really just common stuff. I built an ugly balun and wound it just like the book said, put it up there, and I used it on my 80 and my 40 meter dipole, and I ran it down through a piece of coax that I didn't really do anything to it except go, it's a piece of RG213. It's decent stuff. And everything worked. And then when I started hooking up audio stuff and computers and things in my shack, I noticed I had a little bit of RF, and that's when I started monkeying with these things. And then I just want to be full disclosure, by accident, I learned when I built a really high quality 1-to-1 current balun, cut my coax to the wavelength, the half wavelength of the bands I was using, and I used resonant antennas that magically most of my RF problems just disappeared. Everything got better. I mean, I could hear better. People could hear me better. I wasn't getting RF coming back down my line anymore. Now, did that completely solve the problem? No, because I had a really inferior pair of computer speakers that no matter what I did, it got RF. And by the way, Jason, you could speak to that. Anybody out there interested in I'm getting a cart before the horse here a little bit, but Jason, how is it working out with the Model 4 or 104 or whatever it is monitor speakers you're using? Are those doing okay?
Yes. I was going, So what I was showing there, real quick, people are kind of wondering. So I turned into the KFS SDR, and it just looks like heck. I had that, I can share that again. And so there we go, you guys can see it. So I was like, what the heck? This looks bad. And I figured as much because then I opened up another browser and you can hear, this is kind of a fun website. I'll turn sound on. And this is blitzortung.org. I'll drop the link. But there's lightning storms all over the Midwest and down over Florida. And so that's why 80 meters just looks full of static.
Hey, Jason, can you eavesdrop on the 2-meter crew on 80 meters?
Yeah, let's go there. So let me
3925. Is that where your cursor is?
Yep.
Lower sideband.
Yep. Let me unmute.
CQ. N6CMB calling CQ for the 2-meter crew. N6CMB AG.
Hey, that guy's right here.
Oh, wow.
If somebody's overmodulated, let's go.
I'm going to try answering him.
This is a test. He's going to key his HF with 1 million watts. And if our computers
Well, is there anybody around here for the 2-meter crew on HF? This is N6THN.
Bruce is blowing it away.
N6CMB, I can hear you, station. You're a bit broken up. Understand there's some bad weather out there, but I am hearing you. This is N6CMB AG in Clayton, California.
I hear several of you in there. So this is Bruce, and Jason brought you up on the web SDR, and I decided to give a shout out from Vacaville. So that's where I'm at. I'm up here in Vacaville, California, and can I get an audio report? Am I coming in better now? I'm running. Let's see what I'm running. I forgot to even check. I'm running 75 watts at the moment. Over.
Yeah, our problem's probably we're a little too close, Bruce. You know, I'm here in Clayton, not too far from Vacaville. I'm getting about sometimes a good 5 signal from you, sometimes a little bit more, but I've got a lot of noise out there, and it's not helping. But I am definitely reading you and can make out your transmissions with no problem. This is Chris in Clayton, California, N6CMB AG.
All right, Chris, N6CMB, I've got a copy on you here from Vacaville, and you're 20 over. 20 over, old man. Who else is out there with you tonight?
let's give it a second. I haven't picked up anyone yet from the crew. It's a hit or miss deal. Sometimes we get some folks out, sometimes we don't. So I'm going to turn it over, see if we've got anybody else who can pop a signal out there. I think Bobby was listening. I'm hoping he was willing to press his button. He was worried about knocking himself off of YouTube with RF in his shack.
Kilo Delta 6, Kilo Whiskey Victor. You guys are sounding really good. Banging in. Of course, I'm just a hop, skip, and jump from Chris, Concord, California, about 40 minutes east of San Francisco. But you guys are having a great signal tonight. It's good to hear everybody out here. Kilo Delta 6, Kilo Whiskey Victor.
Hey, Bobby, good to hear you too, brother, and thanks for chiming in. We're definitely trying to get this 9 o'clock meetup to be sort of a regular thing, nothing formal, but just a place people can go on 80 meters on any given evening.
All right. Let me mute that down a little bit. Well, how about that? Everyone's coming in really nice. That's, of course, Half Moon Bay. If you're unfamiliar, that's just the internet. Just go to websdr.org, and that'll give you a whole list of different SDRs you can access, and that happens to be south of San Francisco. That's where that's sitting. And if you're not familiar where we sit, we're here in Northern California.
Right, there you have it.
Just inland.
I made contact with 2 guys on 80 meters.
Nice job, Bruce. You're coming in really clear. You sounded really good. Were you running any power, or is that just 100 watts?
It was 75 watts barefoot.
Wow. You know what? You must have an amazing antenna, coax, balun, common mode rejection.
You know, that's like telling a photographer they have a nice camera, Jason. Sometimes it's just the operator.
Well, no, that's just it, though. I mean, in this sport or hobby, you definitely have to apply everything you can learn to all those components. You know, coax and antenna, I think a lot of times can be overlooked. And Bruce is a big DIY home brewer, and, well, that was very strong.
Oh, thank you.
And none of our computers blew up either, so that's good.
Wow.
Now, Chris, what's your antenna?
Don't that bow thing again, Kevin. That thing blew out half a city block last time you did it, right?
I know. Here it is right here.
No, don't do it.
Right here.
Now,
Yeah,
Hey, can I talk on my Bowfang on 80 meters? With a rubber duck?
Not that one.
No? Oh, okay.
Chris, what was your power? What was your antenna?
I've got a 5G RV strung up right now that some good friend of mine loaned me, namely Jason, because I'm still searching for what I want to set up in my place. But Ham Radio TV loaned me one out of their library of gear, and it's been actually working pretty good for me. I've been pretty happy with it.
Awesome.
I'm running an IC 7300, 100 watts, you know, desperately in search of a cheap amp because I want to be one of you big boys putting out some power someday. But so far, I'm pretty happy with what 100 watts can do if you play it right.
Heck yeah. You know, earlier I kind of switched gears by throwing that up there. But earlier, Kevin was asking me about, I've got kind of 2 new things in the shack. One, it's probably not going to be that exciting. It's very exciting for me, but I have a compressor limiter gate rack-mounted piece of gear, and so I'm hoping everyone's audio is great. I can't make you sound any better, but your levels, I'm just trying to get them just right. So that's very exciting, probably boring. But what is, I think, really exciting for everyone is I just got a pair of these, and I wish I could share a link to you right now where to buy it, but that's coming very soon. This is just a preview. And so what they look like is they're 120 volt powered speakers, and I've been listening to them all night with you guys, and they sound really good, and they're really not that big. So here's one, and I think the shape is pretty cool.
Hey, JBL, is that? I'm trying to pick the brand up.
Yeah, that's a JBL, and there's two of them. So you guys have been stereo all night to me. Let me try to pick this one up. So this is gonna be your master. So this has got the volume headphone jack. The volume glows. The back gives you lots of options because I know us hams. It's got quarter jacks. It's got RCA jacks, and I mean, from watching YouTube videos, listening to some music, or what I'm doing right now is for radio use, for Zoom use. They're one awesome piece of kit, because I know when I got into this hobby, very quickly I got kind of picky about audio. I think that's, we're always saying, can I get a radio check signal report? And it always just, I don't know, it does something to your ego if someone comes back and says, you sound like crap. So anyways, it's always nice to have some speakers, and so we're gonna be able to let you guys know where to get some real soon, and they're fairly affordable.
Have you used them on HF yet with your radio?
Yes, I've been working some 40 meters over the weekend.
How'd that, and the speakers behaved?
Yeah. So what it was is I just had a little bit. So my radio comes in via a direct box. So on the back I have 3.5 millimeter jack that goes into a quarter jack into a DI box, an isolator box, then an XLR into my mixing board, and that was picking up 40 meters. 20 meters wasn't getting into my audio chain, but 40 was, and these guys are left alone as well. So they're doing a great job of rejecting. That's kind of why I had some of this stuff laying around. I was getting ready to fight it if need be. And I tell you, another good way to test RF in the shack is get on FT8 and throw that full strength digital for 6 seconds at a time, and that'll give you time to chase things down. Cool.
I was curious. I don't know what it is about 40 meters, man, but it likes, that was the one that was bugging me at my shop, and it took me a while to get out of there. Now, do you have your I remember you had a little computer speaker that was made out of plastic. And do you still have that one? 'Cause I have one too, man. Everybody does. Everybody has.
Oh, it's still plugged in.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah, the plastics actually is yellow. Like maybe a smoker owned it. I think it's made out of Bakelite.
Yeah. Well, the point is those things just, they pick up everything.
Yeah.
They're horrible. And that's what I tried that first. I'm like, these things sound horrible with the radio. Turns out they have negative RF suppression. They actually amplify radio. Yeah, it's bad. Mine was bad.
Well, all right, guys, let me pass it around to everyone. It's getting late. I'm going to work tomorrow. So let's go over to Bobby Lee. What is happening? What is new? What would you like to tell us?
Well, I've got all 3 digital bands. Well, 4 if you want to count P25. But, I told everybody I was not going to do D-Star. I am so saturated with DMR and C4 Fusion that I was like, there's no way. I'm overwhelmed. All of a sudden, everybody's going to D-Star and sideband. So that's what changed my direction from a 991A to the 7100, because I am so saturated with C4 Fusion, and I've really got a very well-oiled machine for C4 Fusion. And the only reason I was going to buy the 991A was to get on sideband of all things. So,
yeah.
That was really the only thing. And quite frankly, the 991A does not support the HRI 200. I was shocked about that.
I know, they missed the mark there.
Yeah, so I guess, for me, the highlight, Chris has been a great mentor for me on D-Star and really helping me understand the architecture there. And, when you transition through the different footprints of these different digital technologies, people like to say, oh, it's digital, it's all the same. And I'm like, oh, yeah, tell that to someone that's programming their radio, And so I've been just having a lot of fun diving into D-Star now and getting into that. So I'd say that's probably the newest contribution to the shack is the 7100 here. And then I just put a 5100 in the mobile. So the mobile's got Motorola for DMR. It's got an FDM 400 for C4 Fusion and that 5100 to cover D-Star. So feel pretty good about it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Right on. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing tonight with us. Let me pass it over to Corey. Corey, thanks for showing your antenna. That was a lot of fun. What kind of things do you have in store or your next possible projects?
Well, my only next possible project is I saw you working a FT8, and I'm trying to get my station set up so I can work FT8. That's my next challenge.
That's right.
I got a couple of people. Kevin said he would be willing to help me out. I ran into a few bugs. Couldn't get it to communicate, but I'll work it out. That is my next challenge. And then I want to go camping and go out and see how I do. I can't wait for our field day, if and when we have it, or go camping and see how to set up my station and work portable. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, getting out, camping, or for that matter, what we probably need to do, although, gosh, it's going to be June in a week or so. So, man, that means field day is at the end of it. But field day is so much fun and so social. But our location has so many good reasons that we go there. This will be our second year. But the only con would be it is just outside some residential, and the noise floor is a little there. But that said, we should put something for a future day trip where we leave at 7 in the morning, we drive somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and see what we can do with 100 watts in a wire, a battery, a solar panel. But it should be good. How about you there, Chris? We heard you on 80 meters. You are, man, Chris, when the heck did you get your license? I mean, you are taking steps the size of giants right now.
I guess it was in February when I got my technicians. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'd like to say that probably the shelter in place order is having a strong effect on me, advancing the hobby pretty quick. I think a lot of the digital things I took on really were just because my radios had it and I didn't intend to use it, but I had the time and said, you know what, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to figure this out, and then moved on to the next thing. So it's a great hobby. I wish I had found it 20 years ago when I was 10. It would have been, I'd have been into it then too, for sure. In fact, I've shared a few times, my dad was a radio man in the Navy way back when. And he, always talked a little bit about that time and his interest in it. And I wish I had figured this out when he was still around. It would have been great to share with him,
I hear you. I had a grandfather that I got a shortwave radio from, and I really wish he was around because he'd get a kick out of all this. Let's see. How about over to Nick? Nick, what is new with you? I know one thing that is extremely new and very important because you're going to keep this thing going next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. So the live stream seemed to go pretty well tonight. I ended it about 30 minutes ago. Things were just kind of winding down. I found a couple of different challenges that I will discuss moving forward. But yeah, it's an interesting little change of events, and I hope that I can use this page to kind of back you up on some of the things that you do. And for the 35 people still watching, this man Jason, he does quite a bit for the 2 Meter Crew and for the Vaca Valley Radio Club, and he deserves all the recognition in the world for that. So I super appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for those of you that are still watching, Jason will be out of town next week, so we're gonna stream the anti-net on my YouTube page, which is Northwest Hamshack, and you can come and check that out. And I'll try to put a link up early on and get the word out for that. And then the week after we'll we'll be back to Ham Radio TV to talk about how we did. So I appreciate the opportunity on that, and bear with me if there's any kinks to iron out. So
awesome. Well, congrats on that. And yeah, how about that little kind of nudge from me? I've heard you threaten getting a YouTube channel a few times, and I just figured I've got just the idea. I only messaged one person. You were my plan A, and that paid off.
Well, good. Yeah, no, it's exciting. I just hope that we can continue this and keep people interested in the hobby and stuff. So super cool. And for Chris, hey, move up to 3960 because my signal's not getting out on the middle portion of the band there for some reason, but I seem to be getting a signal on 3960.
Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and be ready for departure. I'm going to start calling on 3960 for anyone else who wants to see if we can catch up there.
All right. Good seeing everybody. Thanks.
All right, man. 7-3. How about over to Bruce, man? Bruce, thank you so much. Incredible presentation.
Wow. Giant. There's a giant head on my screen. All right. I guess I'm number one on the runway, and away we go. Thank you for running everything, Jason. And I ditto what Nick said. And I had fun tonight. And about field day, Kevin's place is good. The Nut Tree Airport got a little hot on our previous field days. I've had field days down along the Bay Shore in the Bay Area by the KNBR transmitter. And then up in the mountains, we did really good when we moved our club up into the mountains, got up about 2,500 feet or so. So Art and I took a drive a while back up into our mountains up Highway 50. We went up to Highway 50 looking for a field day place. And we pulled over in Pollock Pines.
Okay.
That's about 3,000 feet up there. So we were thinking, all right, great 2 meter simplex, 3,000 feet. We're up there. And then HF would work fine too. But it is a 2.5 hour drive from Vacaville.
Yeah.
And we'd have to go into a campground. They have BLM property up there too. But for convenience, Kevin's place hasn't made being close to the city, close to everything. If we go up to Pollock Pines, even though it's a great location for VHF and UHF, and probably 6 meters, because we're up on a mountaintop, it's probably just too far for everybody to travel, for a setup on Saturday morning and tear it down Sunday morning. So, Jason, I was going to ask you a question. Do you get Friday and Monday off? And so do you have a long weekend? Enjoy yourself camping. And I'll turn it back to you and say 73, y'all.
Thank you. I do. Yeah, I'm off. I think we're doing just some miscellaneous home stuff. I'm not really going to shove off until Monday-ish, I believe. So it's been challenging because a lot of things are still closed, but it was just a good time to grab a quick vacation week and really just kind of get out of the mess for a little bit. Going up to a KOH in Petaluma if you're in the area. So not too far at all.
Yeah, we'll all come by together and see you.
How about you, Kevin? Your turn. What's new? What are you going to bring us in 2 weeks?
Well, we talked about that already. We're most likely that unless we come up with something better. I do have a quick question. Is Bobby, let me look at my view. Bobby Lee's still here, right?
Bobby's still here?
Oh, there he is. Okay, brother. Behind you, there's a microphone on the shelf in the middle. Would that happen to be right there in the middle? That one. Is that a push to talk with a log takes 2 AA batteries? And is that a Radio Shack? Oh, yep.
Oh, Realistic, which is Radio Shack.
He was okay. Don't tell anybody, but I'm thinking Bobby Lee was once a CBer and he plugged that into his Navajo 40 channel sideband radio. And you know why I know that? Because I have the exact same microphone.
Was it a TRC 450?
I think I have a TRC. I think it's a 450 out in the shop. I have that mic and I took it and I modified it. And the first ham radio I hooked that mic up to was a Yaesu FT-991A, not the double E, but the E. And but I did not use it on CB. I got the 101 to use on ham radio, and that was the microphone I used.
That is so funny. This actually, the laptop that I'm talking on right here, is sitting on top of the Navajo because this stupid CB is so big. It's right here. So I wish I could take the laptop and spin it around and show you, but I'll post some pictures up on maybe 2 Meter Crew or.
Yeah, I just saw that. You know, I've actually purchased a couple $5 Navajo realistic CBs from garage sales just because I thought they were cool, you know, to go with my stupid microphone.
That's so funny because, you know, my buddy actually across the street, we lost his father, unfortunately, and he was a CB guy, you know, and
oh, wow.
And so his son brought me this huge Navajo, and he thought, my dad had this sitting in the garage, so he brought me the CB. I got a couple other CBs, some antennas, and probably 30 feet of pole and all this other cool stuff, you know, and this thing looked so heinous when I got it. And I took this thing, I dusted it off, microfiber towel, cleaned it, and I'm all, oh my God, it looks brand new. And you plug it in, the thing turns on.
It works. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You know, I'll close out with this tonight. I do miss Radio Shack.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
I mean, you know, you need something dumb like an egg insulator. Yeah, a 10K resistor or a 3AG fuse. Where do you go to get that stuff these days? You got to drive to frickin' Fry's and then hope you can find the aisle that maybe has it, or you got to order it from Amazon. I mean, it's just turned people like, well, some people like me into like this messy, half organized warehouse of parts that you hope you're going to reuse. Because it's like, well, I need a fuse. Well, you buy 10 of them instead of 1 or 2. Remember the 3-packs from Radio Shack? You know, you go there, get the 3-pack, you get the 4-pack of resistors, and then get the value pack of transistors. It's all gone. It's all gone.
You know, when you visit Kevin, he makes you clap as you walk around. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why do I gotta keep clapping? And he's like, because I'll know when you stick something in your pocket, you'll stop clapping.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my Mauser orders are like doubled, right? Because anytime you order you something, well, I better get 2 of those in case I need one. So I spend double every time I freaking order from Mauser.
Or 3, like 3 scanners.
Yeah. Well, that's the swap meet, Bobby Lee. You go to the swap meet and you go, hey, that's cool. And the guy goes, well, I got 3 more. I'll buy all of them. You know, it's like, really? Yeah, I'm that dumb. I'm going to buy all of them. You know, I do miss Radio Shack. You know, some of you guys might remember Zach Kit Electronics that was in the Vallejo and in the Bay Area.
San Francisco.
Yep. And then up in Sacramento was a Metro Electronics. And Metro went out, it'll be 2 years this July. And then there was Valley Electronics, the Surplus, and Mike Quint. Matter of fact, I didn't pull it out tonight, but I actually built a power supply, an analog supply on a board when I was about 19 or 20 years old. Bruce will know what I'm talking about. I used, pass transistors, 3055s, another 3055 for a drive transistor, a LM723 for the voltage regulator, a little Motorola chip for the over voltage protection, and it shorts the SCR for over voltage. I built it on a board, put meters, and I still have it. I bought all the parts from those surplus places for next to nothing. And the 2 meters, so I had volt and current, I got those from Zach Kit Electronics and got on my crappy little van and took myself to Vallejo and spent what little money I had on electronic parts. It's just memory lane, guys. All those places are gone.
And in spite of that youth, he found a woman.
Yeah,
she put up with him, right?
She put up with me, man. She's been putting up with me now for legally for 35 years, and we were friends and going out together for 3 to 4 years before that. So, you know, I guess I drugged her good enough. You know, she
I think I grew up with the base station, Radio Shack, and Scanners Unlimited. Of course, HRO was included in that, but you know, I remember my first scanner from Radio Shack, a 4-channel VHF high-low crystal scanner with 4 little red LEDs at the top.
Yeah,
that was the God's gift. I would sit there and watch those little lights go and just waiting. And I knew if I didn't hear something, I just pop the back off of that little thing, pull that thing out, and stick something in there. I'll hear that. You know, and that's actually kind of how I got into ham radio, was really specifically because of
that brings
scanners.
back memories of going to the Radio Shack where the guy had a plastic bin about this big with all the popular crystals for our area, you know, and he would pull them out and put them in there. And speaking of the base station, Art over there in Mayoff, yep. I remember I went over there and I bought my first 500-foot spool. It wasn't 9913 because Art said, look, get the Carroll 1180. I stock it. It's a better price, and it's the same darn stuff. And guess what? He was right. So we bought a 500-foot spool from Art, and then, you know, life changed. Art retired, and the base station is gone.
Yeah, I think I paid their mortgage, rent, whatever you want to call it. And a funny story is, as a matter of fact, ironically, Art just issued me my general license after almost 30 years as an operator, February 1st. I took my test in Benicia for the Benicia Amateur Radio Club. And we had a little laugh. He goes, you know what, Bobby Lee? You can talk to Art and just say Bobby Lee, and he will laugh. He says, you are the first person that ever came into my shop when I was the first person when debit cards came out. So I am the very first debit card transaction at the base station. And Art was freaking out. We laugh about it today because he's like, man, you know, well, what happens if you're not good for the funds? He says to me, you know, and he was like, the very first transaction, he didn't know what to do. And he's like, man, this is very uncomfortable because I have no idea if this kid's money's good or not.
Oh, that's funny. Well, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it here unless anyone has anything last ending thoughts. It's before 10, so we're doing good, but it's after 9:30.
Well, I did just for stuffs and giggles, you know, I threw the DMR ID into my Motorola the other night. Just, you know, I was just in that mood to experiment. And boy, that was so cool. I did a quick test, you know, and KD6, KWV, blah, 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 going through my Shark RF on my Motorola. Came out VHF in Vacaville. I'm all, oh, this is so cool. KD6, KWV on DMR, you know. And
that was you testing? I heard that. Who was
So,
that? Okay, I'm going to make fun of you a little bit. Girls, how are you testing? I'm like, what is that? It's robot testing. I think I heard you, man. I had the radio really low, sitting off to the side. I go, who is that?
Well, I did get a good signal report, and I was told by the other station that didn't have nice palm trees.
Yes,
that my signal was actually okay.
It was actually okay. I had the volume down. I could hear the DMR-ness of it. That's all. And
it was cool.
I'm still sticking to what I said. I'm not doing DMR either. So I haven't gone over to the dark side yet.
Hey, believe me, if you can get away from code plugin, you'll be a happy person for the rest of your life.
There you go. All right, guys. I know Jason's got to go. I got to go too. I got.
All right, guys, have a great night.
Yeah, good night, everyone. 7-3 that's watching. And most everyone will be back next week. I'll be back in 2.
Hey, Bobby,
I say that we have Kevin come on. You know, he plugged into that whole you waiting for 2 weeks 2 times now. So we should probably
That's
put
fine.
something together and really just make him pay for leaving us for
Make it good. Make it good. I like it.
Hey, we'll give him something to look forward to when he comes back.
What are we doing?
If anything, it'll just be a good laugh on a terrible live stream.
Do we have a topic for next week, guys?
I don't think so, but we were talking about Chris maybe putting on a little presentation on kind of how to utilize NetLogger.
Oh, cool. That'd be good.
Because some people have asked about that and how to use it properly and get checked in. And Jason brought up a great point that would help, you know, just kind of make everything a little bit more fluid, get some people checked in. So
Yeah. And I'm sure there's other organizations and clubs that want to use it too.
Yeah.
Another thing to throw in there real quick, Jace, food for thought, you know, I really enjoy doing mobile installations. I do really custom jobs, very meticulous work, and you know, maybe, you know, what I could do is somehow maybe just put together a quick video, or if I can figure out how to do it and like give you a tour of my little van, show some things like resettable 40 amp breakers that go into my wheeling 8-circuit power distribution block with a remote 8-circuit you know, switching box that you know you can turn things on and off, and how I protect everything. I isolate batteries to do dual battery systems. You know, I'd be willing to put something together with a video that could. I really enjoyed what Bruce did tonight with just with the power supply. I thought really that was fantastic because it touched a topic that everybody can use, and he did it in a way that really was a great benefit for people out there, knowledgeable where to get something very inexpensive that is actually very utilizable and efficient and safe to use. When you're wiring stuff in your vehicle, boy, you take a look at NN60E's vehicle, and it's like a hamster went in there.
Bobby Lee, I agree. I think that would be a great topic. One thing to consider with that, though, is that you also want to kind of cater to the person who, hey, I just got my first antenna and my first radio, and I need to get it into my car. And so some of those things are going to be a little bit over what is necessary for them to be able to get that installation going. And there are going to be a lot of people out there watching the channel and listening in that is their concern. Like, how do I bare bones? How do I get a station in my vehicle? So with that topic, it might be cool to kind of incorporate some of the more technical aspects of it, and then also some of the aspects to someone who's just like completely green, like, what do I do? Should I drill a hole, or should I just use a mag mount? And, you know, where should I place it? Is there anything to consider? Like, do I run it right through the middle of this airbag setup in my roof liner, or do I try to avoid that? You know, things to think about as far as that topic goes. But yeah, that's a good idea.
No, I mean, it makes me think a lot about, you know, that. And actually, I would probably flip the switch and start from the very basics, and then use what I've installed as maybe the final. This is what it would look like. And just as you were saying, you know, uniquely enough, with all of the 6 antennas that are on my vehicle that are all drilled into the roof, it's very easy to go and look, people, da-dunk, and I plop a mag mount right on there and say, this is what you do. We run it right over here by the B pillar, run it in between the doors so it doesn't pinch in between if you have the two, you know. And there's so many things that I was just thinking about that might be sort of fun. So I'll throw myself under the bus, open up the door of opportunity for a future discussion. And if you guys want to embrace that, I'll definitely put something together.
Can we drill some holes in Jason's Prius?
Hey,
oh yeah,
we could use the Ford as a video if you want. I mean, I just did Dave.
I like the Prius idea way better. I like the Prius idea.
I know where to find a Prius, and we could drill some holes in it. We just
can.
Yeah, maybe throw that idea on Discord if you can, Bobby Lee, and just see what people think. There's a whole section for anti-net ideas.
There is a downside to Bobby Lee's suggestion, and it involves old underachieving hams like myself. What'll happen is we'll watch his video and go, "Damn you, Bobby Lee." So for the old underachieving hams that looks like a 3-year-old wired their vehicle and then it blew up and we just kept using it, that group of people, we will hate you. Okay. But go ahead. Show us how to do it right anyways.
I really want to see your mobile setup now, Kevin. Really bad.
It's in my work van and it's horrible.
Kevin can set up a soundboard for Led Zeppelin, but he's challenged to wire up a radio in the car.
His is a Baofeng running through the window out to the mag mount. We've all been there, man. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I still do it.
I actually have 3 holes drilled in my roof of the van, and I have the Don Johnson, and I have a 6-meter antenna permanently mounted on the side and on a bracket. But it is a work van. I had to make sure I put all the stuff on there so the ladders will still go up. The problem is the inside of the van. It started out with very good intentions, and it's gone downhill ever since.
I've got 3 little girls. I totally understand.
There's Don Johnson.
Well, anybody wants to send me a text, I'll send my phone number over Zoom right now. You send me a text and say hello. I'll send you the picture of my latest install on the van if interested.
All right. I like it. Hey, Josh, what are we celebrating? Was that a champagne?
Yeah, I had a work event. I had a big success at work today. So I did. I popped a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, and I'm
nice.
Is it dry? That's the only drawback. It's always dry.
It's a brute. Yeah, I don't do sweet champagne.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
You guys are killing me with all your custom backdrops and your boom mics.
You can do it, Bobby. Come on.
Damn headphones.
That's an Shure SM7.
Yeah.
Let's be specific.
Knock it off, Kevin.
Give them
Kevin, that pales to the AKG stuff, right? We don't want
Kevin likes microphones because he puts it in front of his face, like before.
There's a reason for that.
Well, right on. We've just been kind of saying bye.
That's fine.
But we're ham, so it takes us like 73 times or something. I'm not sure where that number comes from.
We're on round 27 of the 73 round.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, we haven't really met, but my name's Nick. And
hey, Nick, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Hey, if you have time next week, you should totally like my channel, go to Northwest Hamshack and just jump onto the anti-net, and you're bound to draw a little bit more attention, because when Jason leaves next week, we're not going to have as many viewers, and we don't want to lose those viewers and have them think that we left. So we need you to drag them in.
Yeah, the backstory is I'm going to go do some camping with the family, and there's just no way I could figure that out in an RV. So Nick just created a brand new channel to keep the 2-meter crew is kind of what we call this this Wednesday night going. So it'll be pretty much his first time, but I think he'll do fine. And that's the only way to learn how to swim, quite honestly.
I agree completely. Post the link in the chat, the internal Zoom chat, so I can find it. I'm having a hard time finding the channel.
He's got 13 viewers, but that's because I signed up 3 times. And,
it's 3 days. 3 days old.
I made my mom like my page, so that's how I got that last year.
All the kids,
no shame, man. No shame.
All the kids have new accounts, right?
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
I did it over 10 years ago when I made my YouTube account. I definitely did that, so there's no problem in doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, so it'll still be going on Wednesday, but it'll be in different hands. More than likely, I'll probably be able to check in through at least a cell phone connection, maybe RF. But all right. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. And I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but Josh does a pretty cool stream every Saturday night. And then he jumps to Discord. So, I mean, that's kind of how I learned Discord. And, you know, we have a Discord that's going on. Link is in the description below. But definitely check out Josh's. There's always a lot of good stuff going on there. That's where I figured out the grid tracker that I've just been, you know, memorized with this last week.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it sure is.
Tag did an amazing job with it.
I've been playing around with that too. That's been a lot of fun. I think I met you on there too, Jason.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I didn't even know we worked each other last weekend.
Yeah, we were just playing around, and there you were.
I don't even know what that means, but I'm not going to ask because you guys are trying to say goodbye.
Bobby, go watch Josh's channel if you're not familiar with it. It's Ham Radio Crash Course. Josh in the bottom. Well, I don't know if he's in the bottom.
Oh. Well, you're in like super mode. Like all I see is you right now, and the guys on the side.
Oh, you can select how you view.
Right-hand corner and
he's in the Cindy Brady box.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Josh runs a channel too, and he does a live thing every Saturday. So go check out his backlog there.
Okay, cool. I'll do it.
All right.
That's what I told Josh. I watched your GMRS FRS in its entirety.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I actually watched the whole. It was cool, dude. It was.
Thank
good.
you for watching. Appreciate
I think
that.
I think you did a good job of explaining it both ways.
Well, he kept it real.
Yeah,
you know?
it gets heady. Yeah. People got pissed off that I said that they don't police it. They got mad about that. It's like, it is what it is.
It is.
If they want to change it, they can. I'm not stopping them from policing it.
Yep.
You know, I read some of the comments, and I'm like, I won't say the word I was thinking. But yeah, you did a good job, dude.
Yeah, let them think what they want, man. I went back and watched like your oldest videos the other day. I went as far back as I could. Yeah.
Oh, I've got some hot bangers back there.
Some rough ones. And and I was like, you know what? I don't feel too bad about starting this thing out the way I'm going.
And I left them up, which is the really stupid thing, I guess.
Hey, no shame, man. No shame. It's all good.
It shows the growth of your channel, the maturity of your content. It's a good thing. You know, it's one of those things where there are those people that think that people just turn the camera on and they're that good instantly. I have yet to meet that person. Maybe they exist. It's certainly not me.
Not if you look like us, huh?
Yeah. I know. I did. You know what?
The radio.
My mother watched the Ham Radio TV with me the other night. She's over for dinner, and she wants to adopt you. So just thought I'd tell you.
Well, that'd be my grandmom.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She recognized you. She goes, "Who is that young man?" I go, "Mom, we had dinner with him."
Yeah.
Wow,
There was someone on the repeater earlier that said they wanted to make sure it was going to be on Ham Radio TV tonight because his wife, who's not a ham, likes watching Jason. She thinks he's kind of, honest looking, I think was the word she used, but she's definitely
honest looking.
Going.
I was a Boy Scout.
Hey man, that guy will give you a battery right out of the back of his car.
That's right. I drove that battery 4,000 feet and I gave it to Bobby.
Shut his channel down.
All right, guys, I got 10:01.
All right.
I'm gonna push this button. So good night, 7-3, and
what's Josh's YouTube page?
You're the only person on the planet that doesn't know it. And it's literally on his screen right now. Ham Radio Crash Course.
How that is?
Ham Radio Crash Course.
Bobby Lee, I'm going to give you his phone number. You ready?
Hey.
Fee-fi-fo. That's his phone number.
It's 8675309.
Hey, Chris, can you give me a hand? I need to lift up this rock because Bobby's underneath it.
There are those questions.
That's hilarious.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right, man.
See ya. 7-3.
Tomato ketchup.